Tears breaking, even no wins. Yeah, I did all that. Had to make it happen. Putting hours in my practice, and I did all that. Yeah. For the win. It's up, and it is scored. Perez walks it off. Steps up, runs again. Big run, Dustin Crum to give the Ottawa RedBlacks the victory. This is a team that's needed more than a crumb of hope. I feel it's my time, think it's my year. Yeah. I really feel it's my time, think it's my year. Yeah. I really feel it's my time, think it's my...
The OT hero last week, Dustin Crum, 103 rushing yards against the Blue Bombers, the first 100-yard rushing game by an Ottawa QB since Kerry Joseph did it back in 2005. Jake Mayer, though, 315 passing yards last week against Saskatchewan as he got everyone involved. 9 different stamps, had at least 1 reception in this game. They're both on a tear, coming off big victories, but who is going to keep the momentum? Davis Sanchez, Matt Dunnigan, Milt Stiegel as we get set for the final game of Week 7 in the CFL, and that is the question, Milt. Both these teams coming off absolutely enormous, thrilling victories. Who keeps it going?
Yeah, both of them had awesome comebacks last week, but the RedBlacks had a what? A crumback. And I think because of that, they'll carry that momentum. That ball is rolling downhill, and all these RedBlacks, including that man right there, Lorenzo Malden, who's lucky and happy to be back in the lineup, will jump on it. So I think these RedBlacks will carry their momentum.
You know, Milt, the RedBlacks won at home, which is a good thing. Yeah. Calgary won on the road in Saskatchewan, tough place to get a victory, and they won. And I think you're going to win at home. Why? Because I think competition breeds success, and it's good for Ottawa. You've got Demontre Tuggle in the lineup, and he's averaging 5.5 yards per carry. That's really pushed Devontae Williams. I think where Calgary has an edge is in that running game, because I really think that Dietrich Mills is in a competition all by himself right now because he wants to keep Kadeem Carey and Peyton Logan as an afterthought. He wants to be the guy.
Yeah. Last week's win against the Riders, it gave Calgary a new life, because if they lost that game, they would have been 3 games back, and the head-to-head season series would have been in trouble. Right now, they win tonight, they'll be tied with their heated rival. I think that was a huge boost to them, gets them right back in the mix, and I think they roll.
Milt, don't call it a
crumback.
I can't believe you didn't use that.
Hate it.
I was waiting for you, kid.
I know. I had to go there. Both these teams looking to go 500 on the season. It's wrapping up in Calgary. The fans out in full force. A beautiful night in Calgary. We'll get you to kick off right after this.
And a hot day in Calgary, Kate. Thank you. Yeah, it's cooking here in the foothills, up near 30 degrees for the second meeting of the season between the Ottawa RedBlacks and Calgary Stampeders. Both teams coming off dramatic walk-off victories last week for Ottawa. Dustin Crum, a big part of that story, of course, with his running. Last play of regulation to help force overtime, and then the final play, the walk-off, 29 yards, taking it in.
Yeah, and you want to talk about the positive impact of Dustin Crum here in Ottawa. This is a guy who has played basically a game and a half for the RedBlacks, leads the team in both passing and rushing on the season. Now, quarterback in Calgary, he's been their starter from day 1 this season after taking over from Bo Levi Mitchell partway through last year. Jake Mayer had his best game of the year thus far in last week's late comeback victory over the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
You see Dave Dickinson's record as a head coach against Ottawa, 8-1-2, that one loss here at McMahon 4 years ago. And Bob Dice just the image of him celebrating after that overtime victory over Winnipeg, the dramatic comeback, and you get an idea of just how much that was celebrated in the nation's capital. Just a huge win for the Red Blacks and their second of the season. So one of these teams looking to get to 500 and stringing a couple of wins together. It's Ottawa winning the toss but deferring. There's Clark Barnes of Calgary, the rookie. A great day of returning against Saskatchewan, including a long one, nearly 80 yards on a missed field goal return for the Stampeders in that victory against Calgary. We are underway at McMahon Stadium off the foot of Leone, and coming down to Barnes at the 15 of the Stampeders from the University of Guelph. And he moves his way up near the 35, where Jake Mayer, who had his best performance of the season against the Red Blacks back in week 2, coming on now.
Yeah, interesting talking to Jake Mayer about the comeback, the final possession against Saskatchewan last week. He said he didn't have time to be nervous or get too excited about it. For him, once Saskatchewan had scored that long touchdown to take the lead, for him, it was just about doing computations in his mind. How many plays am I going to be able to run? How far do we have to get exact? And he knew. And we put Rene Paredes in position. We got a good shot here.
They had 37 seconds to go, 40 yards to set it up for the 50-yard winning field goal by Paredes. Taking the handoff to Diedrich Mills and throwing right away to Reggie Begelton, who had over 100 yards receiving in that game against the Red Blacks in week 2 in Ottawa.
Yeah, taking a look at this starting offense, Bryce Bell out of Wilfrid Laurier gets the start at right tackle here today. You mentioned off the top, Clark Barnes has been one of the great selections from the 2023 draft, a third rounder for the Calgary Stampeders, starter since opening week in that receiving corps.
Well, that pass to Begelton from Mayer, 11 yards, so a first down up across the 45, Calgary. And teammates run into each other, and then it goes off the hands and into Mark and Michelle, who had collided with Diedrich Mills and would look like a busted play. They end up getting 4 yards.
That's exactly the way they drew it up, Rod. Little collision in the backfield here, deflected ball. You'll see Michelle coming across, collides with Mills, as you mentioned, on that play action. And then Michelle catching the pass off the fingertips of Begelton. Everybody had a turn.
What an unlikely play for Mark and Michelle. His third game back with the Stampeders after several years in the NFL. Won a Grey Cup with Calgary in 2018 before heading south. 2nd and 6 now. Stampeders up at their 50. There. And over the middle, but no. Intended for Michelle, but it falls low and away. And it's a 3rd and 6 coming up for Cody Grace. The Australian punter will be heading on to kick it away for the Stampeders.
This Ottawa defense has been tough all season long. The Calgary Stampeders know that from a week 2 matchup. Nothing coming easy. And after giving up an opening play first down, the Red Blacks stiffen up here to force the punt.
The leader in the CFL in base punting, Cody Grace, for 50 yards of punt. And this one is down to Brandon Dandridge. And lets it bounce, and it bounces the Red Blacks way back towards the Stampeders after a 43-yard punt. So on comes Dustin Crum, the big story last week, and now in terms of average, far and away the leader in rushing average in the CFL at 11.8 yards. Last week had something to do with that. Yeah, it certainly did. A couple of big runs, particularly his last 2 of the game, tying the game, final play touchdown run, and then of course another long run for the game-winning touchdown in overtime. Last week against the Bombers, in his first CFL start, he had only 1 carry of 9 yards in the first half, and then literally took off in the second half. And handing off there, it's Devontae Williams who finds a hole and lots of room ahead. Up across to about the 37 of the Red Blacks, and a gain of 20 for Williams. Yeah, notice what the backfield action is here off the fake. Crum is going to show run to the outside, and you see the impact that had on the defensive end Botters. He's got to stay wide. They can't crash down on those inside gaps on Devontae Williams because of the threat that Dustin Crum has presented through his basically game and a half so far in the Canadian Football League. Stampeders well aware of what Crum can do with his feet, so handing off again to Williams, who drives and gets it up across the 40. So doing some work on the ground, the Ottawa RedBlacks right now. And keeping a look at this offensive line, Cyril Auguin-Saint-Don out of Laval, 2nd-round pick a year ago. Made his way into the starting lineup, becoming a fixture this year.
change in the receiving corps. Former Edmonton Elk Raphael Leonard gets the start on the outside. He's there in place of Savon Scarver this week.
2nd and 6. First possession. McMahon Stadium in Calgary for the Ottawa RedBlacks. Passing down off to the left, and it is complete to Leonard. So they connect right away, Crum and Leonard, and another first down for the RedBlacks.
Yeah, you see Crum getting the ball out quickly here. Looking out to what for them is technically the wide side. Leonard, the wide man on that side. Look at how far off the corner is. Take what they give you, which is enough to move the sticks.
Well, they're going to measure now. It looked like he went out of bounds past that yard marker, but still, I think it's close enough to bring them in now based on the spot of the football. Bob Dice. Boy, he was smiling last week at the end of that game, wasn't he? You talked to him on the Zoom call a couple of days ago, just asking him if he pulled a muscle in that celebration. It was, and it's just shy. We're talking about an inch, literally.
Couple of chain links. Leonard looking up at the big screen, looking for looking at the replay to see where he felt he went out of bounds.
So bringing the sticks back out to mark this football just an inch or two shy. As said, from our vantage point initially, with the other yard marker, it looked like Leonard had just had enough. Based on that spot, they're very, very close, and a third down coming up here for the Ottawa RedBlacks. Up across their 45. And it's Terrell Pigram, who started with Winnipeg, signed by Ottawa last week, and he does have enough for the first down as they approach the 50.
We'll take the opportunity to look at the Calgary defense. We'll keep an eye on defensive end Julian Hauser over from Hamilton in free agency this year. 13 tackles, a couple sacks for him. Micah Awe, another free agent signee. He's been a monster in the middle of that Stampeder defense. And at free safety day, Michael Griffin II in as Brandon Dozier. Had been a great game time decision. Dozier a late scratch. Griffin gets the start.
And Tay Daly is inserted into the lineup because of that as well in the Stampeder secondary. So it continues, and that is Ante Milanovic-Litre with his first carry of the game, the ex-Stampeder. Well, this is what we're talking about. Last week in Ottawa against Winnipeg, a 16-point difference with 2.5 minutes to go, and then this final play of regulation, 2-point convert to Nate Bahar, and then in overtime and taking off into the end. What an unlikely, dramatic comeback by the Ottawa RedBlacks to win that game.
Yeah, it really was, and we spent a lot of the second half of that game talking about Ottawa never quitting and continuing to do positive things, feeling all the while very much like Winnipeg had things under control.
Three-man rush, stepping up. Oh, and coming up high to bring it down, and a nice catch there by Jalen Acklin. Inside the Calgary 50, another first down Ottawa after a pickup of 14 yards.
Yeah, and Jalen Acklin is a guy who seems to be slowly finding his way with the insertion of Dustin Crum at quarterback. Vintage Acklin here climbing the ladder to get that one.
Came in with 16 catches for 188 yards. Still no touchdown this season. Their leading receiver last year. But a first down there as the RedBlacks are now in the Calgary zone. And running again. And a Milanovic-Litre, former Stamp, and another first down on the ground for the RedBlacks. 19 for Litre, and an impressive opening drive for the RedBlacks.
This is one of the things that the Stampeders always loved about Litre, was his versatility, a guy who could give you some snaps at fullback, but also come in and be productive as your primary running back in the course of a game. Getting some touches here early on, and you're seeing exactly why.
The 8th play of the drive is coming up here. Impressive look for Ottawa's offense so far in this one as they have it down near the Stampeder 30. A 1st and 10. Dustin Crum. Shotgun, faking the handoff. Pressure right away. Titus Wall nearly had him blitzing. And Crum just takes off. So Dustin Crum's first run of this game, and he gets a little bit closer inside the 25. 9-yard pickup, so close to another first down for Ottawa.
Yeah, pressure is going to come from Crum's left on this one as it's a max protect look. They've got a tight end fullback in there as well as keeping the running back in, but Titus Wall coming free from Crum's left. He manages to escape that and turn it into a positive play. Using the legs that have been perhaps his greatest asset so far in his Canadian Football League career.
And Bob Dyson said, Dean Jones, encourage him to run if nothing else is happening and things break down in the pocket, take off, and it's worked well for him so far in his short tenure with the RedBlacks. Movement on short yardage as Pigram goes left with the whistles blowing before he could take off.
Several flags thrown.
Clearly see a Stampeder defender jumping. They talk it over with referee Tom Valesi. So movement from both sides on the line. And that was TJ Rayam, number 99, the Stampeder to move.
So there was some movement along the Ottawa line as well from the end of the line. So not right in front of Ram.
Procedure.
Yeah.
Ottawa number 89. 5-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
So to your point, before the plane is broken, Marco Dubois moves for Ottawa. So procedure call on that. And that short yardage second down would have been a first down with Pigram there in short yardage. But instead goes back to a second down and more than 5 yards with that penalty, of course. Halfway through the first quarter, this is the RedBlacks' first possession. Push back to the 26 and a 2nd and 6. And the toss over the middle, intended for Nate Bahar, who had a brilliant game last week in that comeback victory. But that falls incomplete, so the field goal unit will be coming on now after an impressive opening drive for Crum in that offense.
Yeah, Bahar's going to line up as your inside slot on this one. Working underneath, little stem to the outside. Ackland hopefully clearing things out for him, but tight window there for Crum, particularly with the pocket closing around him.
This game featuring the top 2 in career field goal percentage. Lewis Ward is the leader at 89.1, just ahead of Rene Paredes. And a shorter one for Lewis Ward, who puts it through. Just one miss on the season for Lewis Ward, and the RedBlacks opening up the scoring in this one as Jake Mayer heads on again. Coming off that big win over Saskatchewan, trying to get back to 500. Calgary football down a field goal here on TSN. Jake Mayer had another 300-yard plus passing game in that victory over Saskatchewan last week at Mosaic. Luther Akunavanu, injured and not playing in this one, had a big one, and Clark Barnes in the return game as well. And that's the first one to Tommy Lee Lewis. He has 1 reception for a touchdown in his career, but working it around, really distributing the ball well in that victory by the Stampeders for Jake Mayer.
Yeah, and I know Jake Mayer came away from that one feeling somewhat buoyed after a bit of an up and down start to the season, but big win, obviously a game in which they faced some challenges and overcame them.
Driving down for that winning field goal, and it's Mark, and Michel has it in his hands for a gain of 2. Michel came in with 5 catches for 44 yards in his return to the Stampeders.
And taking a look at this Ottawa defense, Cleon Lang, the veteran up front, has been leading the way for them. Terrific against the run last week. Big play by Adam Auclair last week, forced fumble that helped their comeback cause. And one of their, I can't even call him an unsung hero, Brandon Dandridge, has been unreal for Ottawa in the early going. 2 picks, including one that cued the comeback last week, 2 forced fumbles, and also a punt return touchdown.
It's a second and long. It's complete for a first down, 2. Begelton has it. Across midfield, Reggie Begelton, who had 8 catches and 141 yards against Ottawa back in week 2.
And here you see Begelton making full use of that waggle. Inside slot on this one's just going to wrap around to the inside. Pick up about 14 yards there for the veteran.
A veteran presence on a receiving core that has had a lot of young players on it. Quite a turnover because of injuries, with Michelle coming back too with Begelton. More of a veteran presence, and a gain of 14. First down at 10. Ottawa zone, and an open receiver is Clark Barnes. Works it in for the Calgary touchdown. 54 yards, and the first CFL touchdown for Clark Barnes.
This is a kid that scouts would label as one of the most explosive players in the entire 2023 draft class. Battled injuries a little bit his last year at Guelph. People questioned his production, but I mean, this is a guy who throughout his career at Guelph demonstrated an ability to make the big play, and that is carried over here to the Canadian Football League. None bigger than Barnes' first major score.
He came in as the combined yardage leader in the Stampeders for his work on returns, especially last week against the Riders. And the extra point, see that often from Rene Paredes. He puts it wide and keeps it as a 6-point game. But Barnes, to say a looming story as a rookie in this league. A breakout in the return game last week. There's a breakout reception working on DeAndre Lamont. 54 yards. Q, quick 6. Could have another star receiver coming out of the University of Guelph, where he and Schaefer Baker went. Clark Barnes, Dwayne, first CFL touchdown.
Yeah, just a little double move here. He's lined up on the outside, is going to sell like he's working in. Gets DeAndre Lamont in the corner to settle his feet. Then you'll see Barnes burst to the outside. There, gets the shoulders turned in. Gets that DB standing still and then blows by him. Nicely placed throw from Jake Mayer over the top for the touchdown.
Missed extra point, so a 6-0 game. 6-3, excuse me. The RedBlacks driving down for a field goal in their first possession, and they're going to have another one here. Brandon Dandridge on the return, and he is hit hard by Darius Williams, the Calgary special teams tackles leader. What a moment for the rookie. Clark Barnes stamps ahead by 3. Yes, in the last week you've heard Crum back a lot after what happened in Ottawa. You look at the largest fourth quarter comebacks in Ottawa history, and that one, they were 2.5 minutes away, down 16. And what a story, but not the only such story for Dustin Crum as we say hello to Britt Dort.
Yeah, he's no stranger to fourth quarter comebacks. He told me back in 2019 when he was the quarterback at Kent State, they were playing Buffalo, and with under 8 minutes to go, they were down 27-6. They came back to have 24 unanswered points to a 30-27 victory. He told me at that point in the season, they were 3-6 on the year heading into that game and had lost 3 games by 1 or 2 points. He said, we knew we were a good team. So a win like that just jump-started us. They actually went on to get their first bowl program win in history. And how did he celebrate last week's big victory? He went for pizza with his dad and his grandpa.
Enjoying the pizza and a good moment with family afterwards in Ottawa. What a moment it was. Thank you, Brett. On the ground again. They ran a lot in the first possession, and it's Devontae Williams in that carry. But boy, they ran a lot in the second half with that man, number 18, and a former MAC Conference Player of the Year.
Yeah, a guy who, when you look at the skill set, this is a guy who is obviously very well suited to the Canadian game, that mobility, and you know, starting to demonstrate. I know one of the question marks was whether or not he could make all the throws on the 65-yard wide field. But you think about that wide side comeback to Nate Bahar on their final drive last week, and I think that answered a lot of questions.
He throws that time on the second down and 5, and that's intended for Jalen Ackland, and he's got it. And it's very close to an Ottawa first down.
And again, starting to see a little more from Jalen Acklin, a guy who's gone through a bit of a position change within the Ottawa receiving corps this year. As you see that ball deflected coming out, a little bit of movement on it, but Acklin goes and gets it.
And it was enough for a first down, Dwayne. So Ottawa on the move again, trailing 6-3. On the ground again to Devontae Williams. And a flag does come out as he gets it just across the 40. So a short gain on first down pending this penalty.
Holding. Ottawa number 61. 10-yard penalty will repeat, first down.
They get the left guard, Drew Desjardins, on the hold, and that'll push him back a little bit further.
Desjardins, part of an Ottawa offensive line that's really been rebuilt through both the draft and free agency over the course of the last 2 years. Dino Boyd really the only holdover.
Lots of change up front. And a position that's seen stability, or a unit, I should say, this year. They had other years, a couple of years ago, where they're making changes just about every week because of injury. So first and 20. Crum wants to take off, and he does. And he gets that up across the 35. So still it's going to be second and very long as he gets 8 yards. So a second and 12 will be coming up for the RedBlacks.
Yeah, not an ideal situation, obviously, for a young quarterback. But Crum getting on the move to get some of that yardage back. As we mentioned, has been his strength.
So he's escaped the pocket and taken off a couple of times. Gain of 9 first and then a gain of 8. But second and 12 here in a 3-man rush again with Cameron Judge spying him, and he does dump it on. Completes that one. And still shy of a first down as they pick up a chunky yardage back to get it up to the 41, 5 yards, but third down, Richie Leone heading on.
Yeah, we talked a little bit last week as Crum started to pile up yardage in the second half of that game about the likelihood of teams starting to spy him. Cameron Judge very clearly doing it there. 3-man rush with Judge, the weak side linebacker, standing back, mirroring the Ottawa quarterback to make sure he wasn't going to be able to run to pick up that long first down.
The single returner back for Calgary is newcomer Tommy Lee Lewis. Had a big return last week against the Riders for a touchdown negated by a penalty. Takes it after a 54-yarder for Leone. And he is taken down just across the Calgary 26. Back comes Mayer. Last drive, big touchdown pass to Clark Barnes. They're up 6-3. Rod Smith, Wayne Ford, Britt Dort at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. The Stampeders have only run 6 plays on offense. They have a touchdown out of it. All passing plays. Haven't run. Well, here you go. On the ground. And that is Dedrick Mills' first carry of the game. And could this be some respect for the RedBlacks as the best rush defense in the CFL?
Yeah, I suspect there has been. You're trying to attack what you perceive as weaknesses, and that would not be the run D for Ottawa. Made life very difficult on Brady Oliveira last week in the game against Winnipeg. Quite frankly, that was what made it hard for Winnipeg to close out that game. Right. Something Winnipeg's done so well over the years was that they were having a hard time running the ball. Had to throw it, led to a pick 6 that started the comeback.
That was just a gain of 2 by Mills. So throwing on second and long, Mayer. Intercepted! Brandon Dandridge does it again! For the second straight week, Dandridge picks it off and takes it to the house.
And outside of kicker Lewis Ward, Brandon Dandridge is Ottawa's leading scorer. This is 3rd touchdown of the year. 2nd straight interception, as you mentioned, but also week 2 versus Calgary had a kick return touchdown. But here, nice job jumping that route, getting underneath, didn't touch the receiver at all as he slipped in front to make the play.
And there's been so much said about Dustin Crum for the comeback last week. He's the one who sparked it.
Absolutely.
With the pick 6 on Zach Collaros with 2.5 minutes to go. Taking it in for the touchdown, and he just does it again. late in the first quarter. And with the point after by Ward, it gives the Red Blacks the lead by 4. How about Brandon Dandridge? He had a touchdown against the Stampeders, and you talked about Dwayne back in week 2 in a punt return.
Yeah, and we'll take a look at his latest touchdown. Here's Dandridge playing the boundary corner spot. He's going to end up covering Reggie Begelton, who's running a hook or a curl. As Begelton comes back to the ball, Dandridge is breaking upfield even harder. Beats the receiver to the ball to make that play. Yeah, well, this is one of the things teams have talked about so often when you're in a situation where you're starting a young quarterback, and how other parts of your team have to step up to help make things a little bit easier, take off a little bit of pressure. We need to get some turnovers, need to make some plays on special teams and so on. Brandon Dandridge has taken that to heart for the Ottawa RedBlacks, taking a little bit of heat off of Dustin Crum for sure.
His 3rd interception of the season, and the 2nd that has gone for a touchdown in his 4th year out of Missouri Western State. And for Dave Dickinson's Stampeders, now in a hole against a team that really features one of the top defenses in the CFL next to the BC Lions. Clark Barnes has Calgary's touchdown in this game, also on the returns, and he gets it up near the 40.
And Jake Mayer just looking to find some consistency here for the Calgary Stampeders. You sort of see down the stretch last season through the first few weeks of this season. You know, essentially half a season when you combine those, and you see that pattern of ups and downs in terms of his numbers. The important thing for Mayer, still a young quarterback himself by Canadian Football League standards. It's going to be to shake that one off and get back to doing his thing.
The Red Blacks 2nd in the CFL in points allowed in 20.2. Big pick 6. They've contributed that way too. Barnes takes it. And Barnes, after the catch, gets up just about a first down. Looks like he might have it up around the Calgary 50. And it is quarter time. Through the first 15, interesting quarter it's been. Ottawa's offense looks sharp. Got the first 3 points. Then a big strike to Clark Barnes to give Calgary the lead, only to give it back here. Brandon Dandridge, touchdown Ottawa, leading 10-6. 10-6 Red Blacks through 1 quarter of play. If you look at the net yards, Dwayne, almost the same, but Calgary got 1 big play for a touchdown, and look at the number of yards they've got on the ground, just 2 on 1 attempt.
Yeah, and regardless of what Ottawa has done in terms of their run defense so far, it is surprising knowing what Calgary's history has been, knowing that they've gone through some injury issues and battled a little bit of inexperience in their receiving core, that they have shied away from it automatically off the bat. But, you know, finding, again, a perceived weakness in Ottawa's secondary, they were able to come up with a big play in the passing game to get themselves on the scoreboard. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Obviously, Ottawa's run defense, one of the big stories, and that maybe got lost in the shuffle with the comeback last week, but one of the big stories in that win over Winnipeg.
As for Ottawa's passing, Crum 2 for 2 for 21, but they've run the ball well. It comes out, and Ottawa has it. And a turnover against the Stampeders again to start the 2nd quarter, as that one is coughed up by Jake Mayer, and the Red Blacks defense takes advantage.
Well, and this is exactly what we talked about minutes ago with the Dandridge touchdown. Need to get a little bit of help from your D, a little bit of help from teams to take the pressure off your offense. Malden coming from the bottom of your screen, left side defensively. He's on the backside of the play, so he's an unblocked man in terms of this blocking scheme. And here, as you see this ball hit the ground, this is why Malden's able to get there so quickly. It's because as the backside defender, he's unblocked on the play.
Fumbled on the exchange from Mayer to Mills. So Ottawa ball at the Calgary 42. Looking off to his left from hits Devontae Williams. Had some touches in the first quarter. Running the football, has a catch there and a gain of 9 for the Red Blacks. Lorenzo Malden was a game-time decision, injured in practice and carted off on Thursday. He seems just fine.
Yeah, Malden, the league's reigning most outstanding defensive player.
Hey,
bouncing back quickly.
Think he know. When I started moving, he was like.
Gets the Golden Sledgehammer.
Yes, sir. You can hear the always energetic Mike Wakefield beside him.
So Tyrell Pigram is in short yardage and moves to his right. Just needed a yard to keep this one going. And yeah, that was quite a scare for Ottawa when Molden suffered a foot injury in practice Thursday. But as said, he was ready to go for this one. And what he has done over the last 23 games, 20 sacks, nearly one per game.
Yeah, he's been remarkable. And, you know, we talked a lot last year about, you think about the defensive ends that were in the room together in Hamilton in that 2021 season with Molden, Julian Hauser, Jagarrett Davis, Malik Carney, Mason Bennett, and all of those guys putting up big sack numbers last year. Some with different teams, Molden leading the way, of course.
Pigram got the first down, so Crum back in and taking the handoff, and he's trying to make something out of nothing again, and he does. Dustin Crum gets the edge and gets down inside the 10. It'll be a 1st and goal coming up for the Red Blacks on a gain of 28 yards on the ground for Dustin Crum.
So as Crum escapes to the right side here, one of the things you're going to see is because the receiver out on the right side has released outside and taken his man downfield. I think it was Titus Wall in coverage, is basically running with his back completely to where the quarterback is coming. He's so busy trying to track down the receiver that they end up giving up a few extra yards. Crum taking advantage there.
Almost at 100 yards rushing. Will this do it? Into the end zone and a touchdown. Ante Milanovic-Litre. So 2 turnovers, and the Red Blacks turn them both into major scores and open up their lead.
Well, turnovers and Dustin Crum's legs making a difference. Turning a broken play into a big positive. Setting the table for the Milanovic-Litre touchdown. Nice job up front as he goes in standing up here. Well blocked by the Ottawa offensive line.
Ante Milanovic-Litre had several good years in Calgary before signing on with Edmonton, and then this his first year with the Ottawa RedBlacks. Product of Simon Fraser, one of the many greats to come out of Simon Fraser. And the point after from Lewis Ward, and won a Grey Cup in Calgary, but enjoying his time now with his new team. And for Litre, his first touchdown as a member of the RedBlacks as they open it up. 17-6 now in the second quarter. Ante Milanovic-Litre, and symbolic of Ottawa's dominance in running the football so far this game. They're up near 100 yards, 96 yards, and turnovers, Dwayne, a big part of the story.
Yeah, no doubt about that. The RedBlacks already with 2 touchdowns coming off turnovers directly here with the Brandon Dandridge pick 6, his second in as many games. And then here it's Lorenzo Molden with the fumble recovery. And that sets the stage after a Dustin Crum run for the Milanovic-Litre touchdown.
So the Stampeders about to get the ball back, and Bob Dice must be loving what he's been seeing so far from his team. It's Clark Barnes to take it at the 15. Barnes, touchdown receiving in this game, and on the return, and he gets met. Kevin Francis, newly back to Ottawa. Jake Mayer, Calgary's first 4 possessions, a punt, then a big touchdown to Barnes, and then an interception for a touchdown, and then the fumble that led to the touchdown.
Yeah, so obviously things not trending the way the Stampeders want to. We'll see what Jake Mayer is able to dial up here in order to get things back on track. See what roadblocks Barron Miles is able to throw in his path.
Early second quarter. The Stampeders, the last 2 possessions have been under siege. Mayer off to his right, intended for Trey Odoms-Dukes with the coverage there from Damon Webb, and it heads out of bounds, second down.
So a tough second and long situation here for Calgary. Again, shying away from that first down run.
Mentioning Dave Dickinson, only 1 loss in the regular season as a head coach of the RedBlacks. That was here in the season opener in 2019. first down. He gets it up across the 45 and a gain of 11 for Calgary.
Yeah, we don't see him do it a lot, but a nice decision here from Jake Maier as he sees things open up in front of him. With Cleon Lang closing. Gets enough for that first down, gets to the ground. Calgary Stampeders in desperate need of a little bit of momentum. Jake Maier providing a spark with that run.
So a 1st and 10 for Maier, who has a record of 9-8 as a starter with the Stampeders, taking over the job last season midway. Taking the handoff, rolling out to his right, and completes it on the sideline, but not to an offensive teammate. And so we have another 2nd and long coming up for Calgary.
Yeah, not much there as he was looking for something short off the play action. Ottawa had things very well covered.
Baron Miles, defensive coordinator. Defense is mentioned, especially against the run. That's been one of the top teams in the Canadian Football League. #1, actually, in that one stat in terms of yardage allowed on the rush. Second down. There completes it. That's caught by Barnes. Having a good afternoon as he gets it across midfield. Stamps on the move. Another first down, Calgary.
Well, Barnes emerging as Maier's favorite target early on here. Comes in kind of a trail here to let the other receivers clear out. You know, Barnes is a guy, as a young receiver, who comes in with a high football IQ. And you got a taste for it there, again, kind of knowing how to use his pacing in his route, that he doesn't have to be at full speed. He can be a little bit behind on his waggle on that play in order to make the timing work.
3 catches for 77 yards and a touchdown for Barnes. That one going right back to him inside the RedBlacks 50. He picks up about 5 more.
Really good relationship developing between the young receiver and his quarterback in the early part of this 2023 season.
Calgary in an 11-point hole after leading it 6-3. And on the second down play, Reggie Beggleton again. So Stamps have something going here in the 2nd and 5, picking up another first down, getting deeper into the RedBlack zone. 10 yards even for Beggleton.
Yeah, chipping away on this drive. Maier perhaps starting to find a little bit of a rhythm in that passing game.
As Jake Maier improves to 9 of 13 for 123 yards. That one to Beggleton to get it to the 37 of the RedBlacks. The veteran out of Lamar, Texas, Reggie Beggleton. Mills in the backfield. Mills has the ball, and Mills has about 5 more yards. Gets it down to about the 32-33, so another second down. We'll give them 4 and call it a 2nd and 6. Week 2 against the RedBlacks. You see a sample of what Beggleton did.
Yeah, Beggleton was huge for Jake Maier and the Calgary Stampeders in that ball game. Came away from that one a little bit banged up after the workload, but the fight his way through injury and continue to be an important part of this Calgary Stampeder offense.
They won that game in week 2 at TD Place, 26-15. They had a defensive touchdown by Brandon Dozier. Deep ball to the end zone. Oh, what a catch by Markin Michel for the Calgary touchdown. My goodness. 33 yards, Maier to Michel. He got turned around, and those soft hands brought it down into the end zone.
Yeah, a couple of just beautiful parts of the adjustment to the ball in the air by Markin Michel on this play. Number 1, gives the DB a little bit of bump just to create a little bit of separation as the ball is in the air, but to track that as it's coming sort of inside to outside over the shoulder, just fantastic.
What a terrific catch. Michel is his biggest play since coming back to the Stampeders from the NFL. And it's gotten them closer with a point after by Paredes. 17-13. Well, we talked about how Calgary's not running the ball, but they're certainly making big throws. There is a 54-yarder to Barnes, and this a 33-yarder. Look at Michelle. Turned around, no problem. 6 points. Seven plays, 75 yards in just over 5 minutes with a touchdown scored by that man, Markin Michelle.
Yeah, you heard him say it. He's back in a big way. Calgary Stampeders with some injuries in their receiving corps, looking to add a little bit of experience. Brought back a guy in Markin Michelle, who'd been very productive in Calgary before, departing on an NFL stint, as you mentioned, Rod. But to get a guy back in mid-season who is comfortable in your dressing room and knows your system, you can plug in right away. Huge for Calgary, and you saw it right there.
His first touchdown with the Stamps since coming back. Here's Dandridge on the kickoff return for Ottawa, and a good job covering it for Calgary as he gets ready for the Ottawa offense to come back on the field. What a game we have here with the Stampeders getting right back in it. I will. How about an investigation into this kickoff coverage, Dwayne?
Well,
we'll do that in a moment here as the RedBlacks get set to go again, and their lead down to 4 again after that touchdown by Michelle. Halfway through this second quarter. Faking the handoff and throwing off of it, Justin Hardy with his first catch of the game, and it is a first down for the RedBlacks. But yes, again, how about that kickoff coverage?
Well, yeah, Kalon Thomas, backup defensive lineman, product of the Okanagan Sun program, gets mixed up in with his block, loses his helmet, continues in to get in on the tackle. Unfortunately, this results in an illegal participation penalty as the league, for whatever reason, discourages players from playing without helmets.
Keep that strapped on a little tighter. Faking the handoff and taking off. And how many times have we seen this so far in the limited playing time of Dustin Crum? When they had the running play read, the Stampeders defense did, but he tucks it in, he takes off and gets 9 more yards.
Yeah, and most running plays in most offensive systems involve the quarterback continuing to show, you know, bootleg or rollout or whatever off the handoff. But over time, quite frankly, a lot of quarterbacks just don't bother with that part. It's so important, though, for Dustin Crum, and you see it on every play. When he hands off the ball, he's pretty committed to the fakes because it's going to be important later on.
He's already the leading rusher in the RedBlacks, adding 9 more yards. He's at 54 in this game.
Ottawa.
So timeout Ottawa with a 2nd and 1 coming up here for Bob Dice.
You know, we saw Crum on one of their first running plays of this game. He fakes that he's going to keep the ball and roll wide. You saw the effect it had on the defensive ends. Left big gaps on the inside for running back Devontae Williams on that play. He's established himself as such a run threat already that defenses have to honor those fakes that they don't necessarily with other quarterbacks.
Looking at Kahari Jones, the offensive coordinator for the RedBlacks in his first year coaching in Ottawa, and a 2nd and 1 coming up here out of this timeout. But the RedBlacks in general, with Crum leading the way, doing a great job of running the football. Very different styles of offense in this game, Dwayne, with Ottawa controlling it on the ground and Calgary feasting on some big plays through the air. Pegram in. First down, Ottawa. Inside the 50, Calgary. So, yeah, I mean, 4 different starters in 4 weeks. 4 straight weeks with Crum getting his first CFL start last week.
Yeah, and it's amazing when you look kind of, you know, week by week and comparing Ottawa and their history of starting quarterbacks to that of their opponents and how many more quarterbacks Ottawa has used, particularly when you kind of go back since 2019. The number of different quarterbacks that Ottawa has used, whether due to ineffectiveness or injury, clearly outpacing their opponents. But Dustin Crum looking to put an end to the turnover at that spot.
Play fake, throwing on it, wide open, flags are out as Jalen Acklin keeps gets going after the whistle is blown. But as said, there is a flag on that big catch at 24 for Ackland. But is this one coming back?
Illegal contact. Calgary number 2. That penalty be declined. The result of the play is a first down.
No, it won't be coming back. It's a big gain by Ackland on that play action fake from Crum, so they get it down inside the Calgary 25 on the move again.
And good poise by Dustin Crum as you see the patience. There's Jonathan Moxey with a little grab on Justin Hardy on the route for illegal contact. But just patience by Crum in the pocket, waiting for that one to develop with Ackland working his way across the field.
For all the talk of his running, he's throwing the ball well in this game today, too. It's not as often as he steps up. And he can't take off this time. They do have him. And that is big TJ Rayam, whose dad once played for the Stampeders back in the 90s, making that tackle. Rayam with the sack.
Yeah, big TJ, not quite as big as his dad, Thomas, but Rayam from his D tackle spot. Great pick in the second round of the supplemental draft last year by the Stampeders. He and Edmonton's Jamin Pelly, both chosen in the second round of the supplemental last year, both proving to be great picks now in their second season.
TJ was born in Edmonton when Dad Thomas played.
Yes, sir.
Further north in Alberta as well. Crum steps up, wants to take off, and he talked about Cameron Judge and spying him, and Judge wanted to prevent him from getting any further. They obviously have to be very, very mindful of the running ability of Dustin Crum.
Yeah, shutting down a couple of Crum runs very effectively. There was the Calgary defense. We'll see what impact this has on Ottawa's offensive productivity going forward if Calgary is able to continue to keep the young quarterback in check.
So Lewis Ward back on to try another field goal. He's 1 for 1 in this one. And that one 36 yards out. A flag coming out. The field goal is good. A couple of flags dropping. Just with the snap of the
Calgary. Penalty is declined. Field goal is good.
If they'd taken the penalty, it still would have been a 3rd and 5, so take the 3 points.
Yeah. Not taking points off the board for another 3rd down.
So 7-point lead. Well, Clark Barnes in this game, he has 5 catches for 82 yards. We've seen him in the return game as well. If it seems like he has a good chemistry with his quarterback, Jake Mayer, there's a good reason. Let's head back to Brett.
Yeah, well, like you guys mentioned, the 2023 draft pick for the Stampeders, and when I asked Jake Mayer about him, he said, well, he's actually one of the quietest guys that I know, but he does sit next to me every single day to watch film, and he said, every time I give him a correction, he fixes it right away. He never makes the same mistake twice, and is actually one of the easiest guys to work with. So I asked Dave Dickinson about being able to draft him this year. He said, yeah, we were sure happy to snatch him, and he also said, leading into this game, they were hoping to only increase his opportunities, and boy, did he do just that.
Well, he's taking advantage of them, Brett, as he ever. Deep ball again. Here we go again. A big play to Trey Odoms Dukes. And say this for Calgary's offense, feasting on deep passes. That one 45 yards from Mayer to Odoms Dukes, and a big first down deep in the Ottawa zone.
Yeah, and as we take a look at this one, here's Odoms Dukes, big target coming out of the slot. The early narrative on Calgary's offense early part of this season was they had trouble throwing the ball deep. Yeah, not a problem today.
3-minute warning. Stampeders are threatening again.
Coming up at the half, we're going to break down this very entertaining football game so far. We're going to give a little love to Brandon Dandridge. Milt's going to break down a couple spectacular plays and Sean Lemon. He's got a new home. The Lemonators in Montreal. We'll explain what that means for the Alouettes.
Thank you, Kate. Looking forward to thoughts from you and everyone else on the panel coming up at halftime. The RedBlacks, yeah, it's been interesting. A lot of what they do is on the ground in this one for Jake Mayer. 11 of 15, 201. He's already gone over 200 yards, couple of touchdowns. Bit of a mixed bag as he threw a pick six and also a fumble that led to an Ottawa touchdown on the exchange with Mills. But picking things up here, some deep balls. And on the ground they go. And this is sticking to script when talking about Ottawa's rush defense. Just a gain of 1 yard. Mills had just a 2-yard carry before, so they can throw. They're having trouble establishing a running game.
Yeah, that Ottawa defensive line collapsing on that one quickly. I believe it was Aiden John, the rookie out of St. Mary's, crashing down on that one. There you see big Mike Wakefield as well in at D tackle.
It's inside the 25. It's a 2nd and 9 now. There. And he throws it off to Mills. And a good tackle by Alonzo Adai, the safety, coming in as a flag comes out after he takes Mills down, limiting him to a pickup of 5 and what would be 3rd down, waiting for the call on the flag.
Illegal block. Calgary number 84. That penalty is declined. 3rd down.
And here you'll get a look at the accused, Reggie Begelton. Little shove in the back as the ball was caught by his running back, Dedrick Mills.
So, with it being 3rd down, the RedBlacks declined the penalty, and it's a field goal situation for Rene Paredes, who came into this game 9 points shy of 2,000. He is about to become, or getting closer to, the 10th in history. Not there yet, but 3 points closer for Rene Paredes. Rene Paredes has 2 field goals and 1 extra point. He missed the other one, so 7 more. He is now 4 points shy for most points all time. And quite a list, including Mark McLaughlin, a great Stampeders kicker, former teammate of yours there in that club. So getting closer to the 2,000 club for Rene Paredes. Oh, pressure and Dustin Crum. That's what the Stampeders defense needs to be able to prevent him from just getting out of that pocket. Mike Rose coming in, Derek Wigan, and Isaac Adeyemi Berglund.
And Adeyemi Berglund coming from the left side of that defensive line towards the top of your screen. Watch the move here. Terrific spin to the inside to beat Zach Peleas. Make it home.
Third year at a southeastern Louisiana. A Canadian. The school in the U.S. Back up here in the CFL in a 3-man rush now. That's the kind of ball that can get picked off the hands of Justin Hardy and Bailey Devine Scott. Moving in the first 2 out of the game for the RedBlacks. They'll have to punt it away.
Yeah, tone was set quickly with that sack on 1st down. Tough thing for any offense to overcome in an offensive drive, that sack and loss of yards, and obviously the 2nd and long situation that it puts you in.
So Richie Leone, the pundit, has not had a busy first half because of Ottawa's ability to move the football, sustaining drives, but not that time. It's Tommy Lee Lewis. He finds an opening. For a moment, he is still on his feet. And he's getting it up near midfield. Leone, the punter, is the one to get him out of bounds. As mentioned before, we've seen some explosiveness from this new Stampeder Lewis, as he had a touchdown called back in Saskatchewan last week. Not a big return.
Yeah, big one there. set up those blocks, bounce it to the outside, and just turn on the jets. It's a nice job by Richie Leone to fight off a block and make the tackle.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness. Ottawa number 13. 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
So Leone did stop it, but gets tagged for that, for a penalty.
Yeah, I thought it was a bit of a soft call. But it is what it is.
Well, it was a 35-yard return. Well, actually, yeah, net 50 if you had the 15 points on, or 15 yards on it.
At full speed and from a distance, I can see how it looks like Leone threw him down because of the arm action. But when you look at it, you can see he didn't have enough of them to throw him down to the turf.
So they now move the ball, and they spot it at the Ottawa 36 for the Calgary Stampeders, trailing by 4. It's 20-16, an entertaining first half. We have 1 minute, 11 seconds to go until halftime. There's every reason to think the Stamps can add to their point total here. In Beretta's range now, stepping up there, and he throws. Well, he had a defender wrapping his ankles, and he completes it to Trey Odoms-Duke. So a good completion, 8 yards for Mayer in that Calgary offense. They get it inside the Ottawa 30.
Yeah, here's just another look at this play. You can see, like Leone really doesn't have a strong enough grip. To have thrown him down, he's saying, I mean, if you're looking at horse collar, that he's suggesting that's not where he grabbed him.
Tommy Stevenson after the gain of 8 short yardage. And that's his department here with the Stamps as he goes left and picks up 3, just needed 2. And the Sticks will move again late in this first half, and a good opportunity for Calgary. Down 4.
And again, Calgary has had some big plays, not necessarily a ton in the way of sustained offense in this first half, but nice boost here for them late in the half from their special teams and Tommy Lee Lewis.
Here we go, Mayer with time. Over the middle, it's complete again inside the 20. And that is Trey Odoms-Dukes again. It'll be a 2nd and short coming up on the 3rd catch by Odoms-Dukes. He had a big one earlier in this quarter.
And Jake Mayer talked a little bit this week about Trey Odoms-Dukes, big receiver playing in that X position. Closest one to the quarterback, the short side slot back. Kind of the history of big targets over there and getting a lot of action.
Blitz coming, and Mayer can't get away. He is sacked by that RedBlacks defense. Bryce Carter is there. And Mayer just ran out of time as Ottawa gets that done with 37 seconds to go. And a 3rd down, and Beretta's coming back on.
Yeah, Baron Miles dialing up the heat a little bit here. Ottawa bringing them in all directions on that one. D. Webb in from the secondary.
Rene Paredes getting closer to 2,000 points on his career. So he pumps that through, and the Stampeders get closer. With halftime coming up, Kate, Milt, Chaz, Matty to talk about this game. And at one point, Ottawa looked to be in charge, up by 11, but back came Calgary with big plays. We got an interesting one here at McMahon Stadium for 2 teams trying to get back to the 500 mark.
Well, Ottawa's going to take the ball here at their 40-yard line.
Crum back on. Very little time left to go until halftime. They keep it on the ground to Devontae Williams. He's taken down by the strong side linebacker Titus Wall coming in.
Nice job by Wall there in space, one-on-one with Devontae Williams, who had kind of gotten to the perimeter of that Calgary D. Wall coming off a terrific rookie season. Shuts that one down in a hurry.
So they just take a knee to finish off. An entertaining first half with Ottawa's sustained drives and largely running, and with Calgary's big plays from that man, Jake Maier, 3 passes of more than 30 yards and leading to a couple of touchdowns and a field goal late to get them close and within a point at 20-19.
Well, both these teams winning close games a week ago and looking like they're all set for a very similar finish here, going head-to-head.
Ottawa mentioned the running game, but also the defense. Brandon Dandridge, second straight game with an interception for a touchdown. That really sparked the RedBlacks, as it did last week in their miracle comeback on Bank Street against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Both teams with something to build on here, and it's just a 1-point game at halftime. Let's head down to the field level now in Britt Dort.
All right, Brandon, clearly a back-and-forth ball game here. So what do you guys have to do in the second half in order to keep the momentum on your side?
Start shooting ourselves in the foot and execute. That's all we got to do.
All right, well, you have had back-to-back games now with a pick-6. So walk me through how you were able to do that again.
Coach just put me in the right position to make plays. That's it.
Well, you guys are coming off a big win last week as well, a close game. So what are these close matchups teaching you guys as a team?
And we come together. You know, we play these situations out in practice all the time. Just come together as a team, make our plays. Everything will take care of itself.
Thanks so much.
Appreciate it.
Back to Kate in the battle.
I'm a lot more excited. I'm a lot more excited about Brandon Dandridge's pick than he is.
This panel is more excited than Brandon Dandridge currently is. The great news is, though, Dane Evans, who rightly so took his time on air yesterday, 3 minutes of, breaking down the game. Dandridge, 30 seconds. Now we have more time to talk. Back alongside David Sanchez, Matt Dunnigan, Milt Stiegel, and we do start with Dandridge and back-to-back pick-6s. I mean, we were fired up, even though he wasn't.
Yeah, no. I tell all young DBs, right? Work on your technique. Be a technician. Work your craft. But more importantly, be fast as heck. Because then you can cheat and you can sit on routes. And that's what Dandridge did here. Look, Reggie Begelton is hauling ass. He's going. And at 15 yards here, Brandon Dandridge is sitting at 16. He does not care. He's not worried about Begelton's speed at all. He's sitting on this route, and then you watch him get out this break. Out of a cannon, he shoots and jumps. It's great transition. Beats Begelton to the ball. And look, that's a guy. I don't know how fast he is. I tried to pull it up. I didn't see how fast he is, but I'm telling you, he believes he's faster than Reggie Begelton is. And you can see on that route, he sat on it, made a huge play. And then last week, bad throw here, throw behind from Zach, and that was a huge play right there to get the RedBlacks back in it. But look, these RedBlacks are getting a lot of plays, deep shots. Hasn't been Dandridge.
No.
But let's see, he tighten it up second half.
You got to play with your eyes too as a DB.
Absolutely.
And he's seeing Maier sitting on his heels and looking left the whole way he jumped at it. It was well read. It was beautiful.
Absolutely.
I'm talking about another quarterback over there. Dustin Milt, what's his name?
Crumb Dog Millionaire.
Crumb Dog Millionaire, man. Getting her done. Look at him on the ground, man. This is just nonchalant. He's not even going full speed here. He's just toying with the defense. Picks up 9 on the 2nd and 10. Here, a little busted play. Calgary's in the backfield. What's he do? Watch Judge. Judge is going, oh, no, I don't have the angle. Oh, he barely had the angle there. That boy can flat out get after it, y'all. And then here, he's just not one-dimensional. He can sling it, too. Got time there. Got a clean pocket. Throws a dart to Acklin. Love to see Jalen Acklin in the mix here. Look, this guy over the last couple of weeks has said, hello, Canada. I can play some football. In the last 2.5 games, he's rushed for 247 yards.
Wow.
And he's got another half to play tonight. I like what he brings to the table. He's giving his football team a chance, Milt.
When you were playing, Matt, did you have that one receiver, and I know you played many teams, that one receiver who you knew you could throw the ball up and he's going to go get it?
David Williams. All day long.
Well, we've seen a couple of plays by non-David Williams who I think he would be proud of. This first one is Jalen Acklin. And what makes this catch so difficult is the fact that Jalen knows he's about to get hit. He gets up, stretches out, gets down, and makes a spectacular catch. But this next one by Markham Michelle is probably the most difficult catch in football. He's running full speed. He turns over his opposite shoulder. He doesn't even see the ball. Watch him put up his hands and make that spectacular catch, keeps himself in bounds, and scores a touchdown. Quarterbacks, we know they have to make some difficult plays, but us receivers, every now and then, we go out there and we help out the quarterback.
That's right.
Every now and then.
Thanks for showing that, by the way, because the live look didn't really do it justice until you just broke it down. But he didn't see the ball.
He didn't see the ball. That's what made it
incredible. Incredible grab.
To me, that was crazy.
Yes.
Yeah, talented receiver that's just getting going for the RedBlacks, too.
Right.
All right, so just for a recap, we have the Crumbback King and we have Crumb Dog Millionaire. We're going to be doing a Twitter poll to see which nickname we are going to be going to. We got ourselves a one-point football game. Much more coming up right after this.
Big coops, big bags. This rockstar lifestyle. I live it just like Mick Jagger, 'cause I'm rolling, stop. I'm rolling, stop. I'm rolling, stop. I'm rolling, stop.
The Alouettes have agreed to terms with defensive lineman Sean Lemon. Lemon tied a career high, recording 14 sacks with the Stampeders last season and was also the West Division nominee for Most Outstanding Defensive Player. The 34-year-old is expected to be in the lineup for Montreal when they travel to, guess where, Calgary next Sunday.
Wow.
Week 8 schedule in the CFL. Can't believe we're already at the three-quarter mark of this. Amazing. Or one-third, three-quarters. My goodness, I'm jumping ahead here. Tiger Cats RedBlacks on Friday night. We're out in Halifax. Rough Riders taking on the Argonauts. For Touchdown Atlantic, the Lions and the Elks. Stamps taking on the Alouettes. As mentioned, that's where we'll see Sean Lemon. We were told that there were 5 teams interested in him. The Owls end up landing him. Milt, what does this provide for the Alouettes?
Some pressure on the opposing quarterback. I mean, the Alouettes, 7 sacks in their first 5 games. That's not getting it done. And I know Chaz was talking about this, and he said, teams want to see what they have in their younger guys. Guys who they know they're going to be there long term. And some teams saw, hey, we're not getting it done. We need to bring in somebody who we know can get it done. Yeah, we may only have him for a year or a half year, but we know he's going to get it done. 30 sacks over the last 3 years. Sean Lemon is going to make an immediate impact right away, and maybe next weekend when he's playing.
Yeah, remember that camera. Can I talk to the camera here? Look, this right here, this is a terrible move. Sean Lemon is too old, he's too slow, and he can't stop the run. No, I'm just playing, Lemon. 14 sacks last year. So good. I got you. He's the good sign. Like you said, he gets to the quarterback. They need that. Just playing with you. They need that.
I can't believe it's taking so long. And I really can't. One, we know that Sean Lemon can flat out play some football. He's played for a lot of different teams over the course of his career. Got 92 sacks, Kate, like you said, and he got 29 forced fumbles. And, creating turnovers. I think he's a character. I think that he's a seasoned vet that's, I think, could make any defense better, quite frankly. And I'm glad to see him back in the league. We need more Sean Lemons.
Yep.
I couldn't agree more. When things obviously didn't work out in BC, I thought it would be an immediate pickup. But
he was having a good camp. Everybody said it.
Yeah, but you know what? The league with Sean Lemon is a better league. So glad to see him back on the field, and glad to see this in Calgary. It's the puppy race. What's going on? Rover's taking off. Oh, it's a tight race to the end.
Corgi getting after it.
Oh, that dog is so happy. Do you know what's all right? This football game so far.
That's right. Yeah, Jumping Jack Flash. We got some gas. Can't take your foot off the gas if it's both these teams. Look at that. Points off of turnovers. Calgary Stampeders giving it up, man. 14 points. Can't get the rushing game going. No surprise, Kate. Why? Because the RedBlacks are best in the league against the rush. That's how it's done.
Dynamite first half. Both these teams vying to get to 500 on the season. We will get you back to McMahon Stadium and join Rod Smith and Dwayne Ford right after this for second half action.
One-point game at the half at McMahon in Calgary, and one of the many stories has been Stampeders rookie receiver Clark Barnes. 4 catches, 82 yards, and a touchdown, and here he is now with Britt Dorton.
All right, Clark. Well, it feels like anytime Ottawa is able to get something going, your team has been able to answer back. But what was the message at the half in order to regain the lead here?
Just whoever wants it more. Honestly, that's it. That's who's going to come out on top. Just keep battling, keep having each other's backs, defense, offense, special teams, and then just wanting more, and then we're going to come out top.
Well, an exciting first half for you, getting your first CFL touchdown. Walk me through that moment.
I knew I had a little double move. We had it all day in practice. It looked good in practice, so we ran it out here, and it always translates like that practice to game. So that's what it was, and it feels great for sure.
Awesome. Well, congrats on the touchdown.
Thank you.
He certainly got our attention last week in Saskatchewan with the return game, at a big missed field goal return, but as a receiver. And Dwayne talked about what a great pick he was for the Stampeders, especially with their need for young receiving talent, and Barnes really showcasing himself today, already over 80 yards in the first half in those catches and 54-yarder for a touchdown. The Red Blacks had won the toss and deferred because they want the ball in the second half, and they have a 1-point lead to get this third quarter started. It is Brendan Dandridge who had a pick six in the first half, but going nowhere. Coming down Tyson Middlemost on special teams to push him even further back inside the Red Blacks 20.
And taking a look here at the first half for Dustin Crum. A couple of nice runs early on for him, although as time went on, the Stampeders started to defend him very well on the ground, limiting his options, kind of forcing him to hold on to the ball in the pocket and try to make plays with his arms. Or one arm at least.
Well, certainly showing last week was no fluke with some of the running that Crum had and not throwing as much. They go back to the ground now, and a short gain that time for the Red Blacks to set up a second and long.
And this is what's going to be so important for Calgary is Ottawa has the complementary thing going in terms of their run game between Crum and his running back Devontae Williams. Williams basically attacking between the tackles, Crum threatening the perimeter. So they've got to make sure they shut down not just Crum, but take care of Williams on the inside as they just did to force this passing situation.
Second and 9, 4 receivers to the right, and got him again. Dustin Crum, Julian Hauser in there, and they've got him sacked for the 4th time in this game. And to start this second half, it's a 2-and-out for the Red Blacks, so they'll have to kick it away. Yeah, Calgary really started to figure things out a little bit as that first half went on, and you're seeing that continue. So we'll get a look at Julian Hauser, the former Hamilton Tiger Cat, first year with the Stamps. Gets enough of an upfield push to create a seam there and get inside on Dino Boyd. Get in on the play. The last punt return for Tommy Lee Lewis went 35 yards and had a 15-yard roughing penalty tacked on as Richie Leone has to get it away from his 5. So good field position could be coming for the Stamps here, and Lewis this time going to the left. He cuts it up. He has room again. He gets outside. Tommy Lee Lewis. What a find for the Stampeders in the return game for him with that injury to Peyton Logan. And this sets up Calgary and Jake Mayer very nicely to start the second half here on offense. Yeah, Lewis's second big punt return of the game, second in a row, setting the Stamps up with great field position. Both times doing a nice job getting to the outside and just turning on the wheels. He had one catch in at receiver last week in Saskatchewan, went for a touchdown, his first CFL TD, but 29 more in the punt return game for Lewis. Faking on the ground and looking to throw is Mayer. He completes it too. Cole Tucker, another rookie receiver for the Stampeders as the flag comes out late as he is taken down deep in the Ottawa zone. Yeah, Cole Tucker.
Major foul, horse collar tackle. Ottawa number 14. Half the distance to the goal. Automatic, first down.
Well, when it comes to rookie receivers in Calgary, Clark Barnes has stolen a lot of the attention. He was the 3rd-round pick. Cole Tucker was actually Calgary's first-rounder this year out of Northern Illinois. Getting some action, you see him.
I figured when I saw the penalties, I wouldn't throw mine.
A clear horse collar there against Kenna. He's going to put the Stamps in on the doorstep.
Penalty to Abdul Kenna, and it gets them closer, down to the 5 and a 1st and goal. Stampeders pressing now, down a point to start this second half. Handing off to Mills. He gets down to about the 1, a gain of 4, and so it'll be 2nd and goal from the 1 for Calgary. And that's also their best running play for Dedrick Mills. The Red Blacks and rush defense have really kept him under control.
Well, Damon Webb's going to flash into the picture from the right side. Defensive halfback in to make the tackle on that one. But I think the reason why this opened up initially.
Tommy Stevens in. Left side. Touchdown, Calgary Stampeders. And the red and white have taken the lead again.
Tommy Stevens, the short yardage quarterback, on to do his thing. Nicely executed drive, and again, points set up by Tommy Lee Lewis in the punt return unit, providing good field position for the Stamps. Cole Tucker catch, and the penalty against Ottawa sets the Stamps up in close.
Saw pick 6, saw Chevy, the other horse involved in the touchdown celebration, as they make it a 5-point game. So going for 2 to see if they can push it to 7. I'm told the big horse is Zip. No, not quick 6. Zip and Chevy handling the celebrations. 2-point try. There, right side, soft toss. No, off the defender, intended there for Reggie Begelton. And it falls incomplete. Excuse me, that's Bryson John, the intended receiver. But Stevens does get the touchdown for Calgary. And they do have the lead for the first time since the first quarter, 25-20. There's Tommy Stevens, short yardage quarterback, picking up another touchdown for Calgary, as you talked about, though, Dwayne, set up by another good punt return from newcomer Tommy Lee Lewis.
Yeah, big play on special teams, making a difference. Stevens contributing to the Stamps' last couple of scoring drives.
And they went for 2 with Rene Paredes. He gets another shot at a field goal or some points after. He's too shy of 2,000 for his career. Kicking off here. Coming down with it. A little meeting there. It's Demontre Tuggle on the return here, and he keeps his feet and he drives up to about the 42 for Dustin Crum and the Red Blacks offense. Now trailing again for the first time since they were down 6-3 back in the first quarter. Down by 5 now.
Trailing a little bit, and
well, this is nothing compared to last week.
Yeah, maybe not the kind of deficit they're used to, but Calgary maybe seeming like they've figured things out a little bit. And so we'll see what the next chess move is for Ottawa offensive coordinator Kahari Jones and his young quarterback Dustin Crum.
The Red Blacks trailed Winnipeg in the fourth quarter by as many as 19. 16 in the final 3 minutes, and they go to the ground right side, and that is Devontae Williams, the ball carrier, as he picks up 4 yards, setting up a 2nd and 6 for Crum.
We've seen Devontae Williams sharing time in that backfield. We thought it might be Demontre Tuggle a fair bit, but we've seen more of Ante Milanovic-Litre getting touches, including a touchdown run. The Simon Fraser product.
Williams missed some game with injury. Coming in with 71 yards rushing. And a completion there for a first down for the Red Blacks up near midfield. And that is Nate Bahar, the veteran at Carleton University, who was such an important receiver to the Red Blacks last week in that comeback. A gain of 8 for a first down.
Yeah, tight window here, as you're going to see defenders closing around Bahar as Crum threads it in there.
He caught 2 critical 2-point converts in that comeback. Remember, they were down 16. They needed the 2 points. He caught both of them from Crum, and a big catch on the tying drive as well. Play fake, pressure's on. Crum tries to take off, he dumps it off, and it's high, intended for Jalen Ackland, with Kobe Williams in coverage there, and it falls out of bounds. Second down.
Yeah, it looked like a little bit of open space for a split second, but that quickly closed down on Crum. So you see a bootleg. Looks like he's got a seam there, but Cameron Judge, man who, as we mentioned, has been doing a little bit of spying. The Ottawa quarterback was coming downhill, closing in a hurry, forcing Crum to make the throw.
It is up at the Ottawa 53. The Red Blacks trailing by 5. Under 10 minutes to go in the third quarter. 25-20 Stampeders. Ottawa's driven the ball well. Points in this game. Crum tries to step up, but you talked about the spying. Cameron Judge keeping an eye on him. And especially, it seems, in those second and long situations as he takes him down with flags down on the field.
59. That penalty is declined. Third down.
The center, Cyril Hogan-Saint-Don, is called for the hold, but that's declined as Richie Leone is back out for the punt.
And Ottawa may just need a little boost from their special teams or defense with their offense. Hitting a bit of a dry spell here since partway through that second quarter.
Well, Calgary's had trouble. Oh, blocked! Blocked by the Stampeders. Jonathan Moxey coming in. And who falls on it for Calgary? It is Jordan Herdman-Reed with it. So the last 3 punts have seen 2 big returns, and that time Leone couldn't get it away. Levante Bellamy coming in with the block for Calgary.
Well, Levante Bellamy, the backup running back, is the man who supplied the block. He's going to be the second man in on this side. Right side of your screen. It's kind of 3 against 2, 1 bails. Damon Webb ends up going with the rusher who released, basically leaving Gosselin with 2 guys outnumbered. He is beaten, and Bellamy comes up with the big play.
His first year, the CFL out of Western Michigan, and biggest play in his young CFL career is the Stamps take over inside the Ottawa 50, leading by 5, looking to add to that lead, and the drive as Mills takes it down at the 45. A 3-yard pickup and a second down coming up here for the Stamps. Is yes, the tide of this game started to change late in the first half. At one point Ottawa had been up 11, but Calgary steadily coming on in this one, and big play is a big part of it for the Stampeders.
Yeah, Jake Mayer has been money on the deep balls, hitting Clark Barnes and Mark and Michelle for touchdowns. Had another big completion over the top to Trey Odom's Dukes.
That set up a field goal. Second and 7. Ottawa 45. 4-man rush. Pressure to get it away, and he does. It is complete, but it is shy of a first down. Down to about the 41, and that is Tommy Lee Lewis. His second CFL catch. The other one went for a touchdown last week in Saskatchewan.
Yeah, they're trying to take advantage of the speed of Tommy Lee Lewis, bringing him on that drag underneath coverage, and it looked like he was open a little bit earlier, but pressure forced Mayer to hold on to that one, throw the ball late.
Well, there's a guy, speaking of pressure, who has known how to handle it. He had that dramatic field goal for the victory. The 10th time he's done that in his career in the last play last week. And this one, no, he's not going to get his chance at 2,000. They call a fake with Stevens on a 3rd and 3, and Tommy Stevens gets close to the 38. Does he have enough for a first down? And trying to catch Ottawa's special teams napping here with, they're going to bring the sticks in to measure it, but we were setting it up about Paredes within 2 points at 2,000. So this field goal would put him over the top. Mark Killam, the special teams coordinator.
Yeah, a little grin from Mr. Killam.
See if they got it, though. Did they? No, they didn't.
Ottawa says no.
No, they passed up the chance to put 3 on the board. Stevens went for it on a 3rd and 3 and not quite there. So Bredis denied the chance at this point. Bigger picture, though, for Calgary. It's still just a 5-point lead in Ottawa football. Like many others, thinking it might be a milestone kick for Rene Paredes. Instead, they went for it on 3rd and 3. They went with the fake. Tommy Stevens didn't quite get there. So big turnover on downs for the RedBlacks, who take over. Up at their 38 now, and a 1st and 10, still down the 5 points for Dustin Crump. Looks off to his left, and he finds a receiver who finds some more. It's Nate Bahar. Avoids the takedown, and he gets it up near the 50, and it looks like enough for a 1st down Ottawa. Gain of 11 yards, RedBlacks.
Looking back at that 3rd down gamble by Calgary, the giveaway is the guy who's holding, Tommy Stevens. Cody Grace is the usual holder for Calgary in these instances. Stevens lines up back there. Not sure if Ottawa necessarily picked up on that right away, the short yardage quarterback being in there.
Big tackle by Lorenzo Malden to force the turnover, too. So 1st down after a game of 12, actually, and back to the right now. And across midfield, and another completion for Dustin Crum to Nate Bahar. And talking about his big game, 7 more yards, not just the 2-point conversions. A big catch, Dwayne, last week on that final drive.
Yeah, huge one as you see Bahar lined up out wide here. That catch last week. Long comeback route to the wide side of the field. You see Bahar there with a little push to create a bit of separation, but an adjustment as we've seen Calgary getting after Dustin Crum the last few possessions. Kahari Jones getting the ball out of his quarterback's hands quickly. Into the hands now, running back Ante Milanovic-Litre, who had a touchdown in the 1st half against his old team. Out of Simon Fraser, had a few seasons here with the Stampeders, his 1st year with the RedBlacks, and a gain of 4 for Litre. Yeah, we talk a little bit about Simon Fraser and obviously the uncertainty facing that program, but some of the terrific players who have come out of it we've seen in this game. Milanovic-Litre, Calgary had the 2-point conversion attempt to Ryzen John a few minutes ago as well. Had a great career as a receiver at SFU. 1st and 10, the Stamps 48 for Crum. Wide open, complete. Justin Hardy trying to push for another 1st down. He won't get it, but it's be a 2nd and short coming up. 2nd catch for Hardy and gets within a yard or 2. Call it a gain of 9, and this could be Tyrell Pigram coming in next for this play. On a pretty good bounce back possession so far for Ottawa, as we had seen basically with the spy Cameron Judge taking away a lot of those rushing attempts for Dustin Crum, and then in the passing game was caught holding the ball a little bit as Calgary was getting to him for a couple of sacks. But now making sure they've got their quick passing game going. Needed to get to the 38.5. Pigram is a lot more than that. Tyrell Pigram had been with the Bombers, cut recently by Winnipeg and picked up by the RedBlacks with all of their quarterback injuries, and on that short yardage he picks up 17 for another Ottawa 1st down. Yeah, Pigram, one of the darlings of the preseason in Winnipeg. Showed some flashes for them, both running and throwing the football, but no doubt his mobility caught a lot of people's eyes. Had been the short yardage quarterback in Winnipeg to start the season, but made expendable when veteran Dakota Prukop became available. They brought Prukop back already having an existing package in their offense for him. In his 1st year out of Towson, we have an injured Stampeder, Isaac Adeyemi Berglund, getting some attention. We'll take a break. Ottawa pushing, and they're down by 5, 3rd quarter in Calgary.
Malik Henry with a Stampeder touchdown. It's a 51-yard touchdown for Malik Henry from Jake Bear.
That was the voice of Dan Carson. Today is the first Stamps home game since the loss of their longtime public address announcer. Dan passed away suddenly after working the last game here. That was just a month ago, June 24th. At just 60 years of age, a well-known radio personality in this city for many years, the voice of Stampeder home football games for 3 decades. Dan Carson, his memory honored today at McMahon Stadium. RedBlacks resuming their drive. inside the Stampeder 45, down 5 points. Third quarter late. Crum completes it to Hardy inside the 10-5. Touchdown, RedBlacks. 24 yards as Ottawa takes the lead again.
And Dustin Crum proving he's not just a one-trick pony. Couple of big pass completions there. That one to Justin Hardy, who's been Ottawa's top receiver much of the season. Second-year man, former Atlanta Falcon.
And Hardy, the leading receiver for the RedBlacks, coming in with his first touchdown of the season, and they, like Calgary did last time, will go for 2. They have the 1-point lead, trying to make it a field goal here. And they were very good at 2-point conversions against Winnipeg when they needed it last week. Needed 2 of them late to keep that game alive and got him to Nate Bahar. See what Crum does this time. Some pressure coming. He takes off. He'll try to do it himself. 3-2-1. And he gets in to the end zone to add 2 more on the board for the RedBlacks. Another big 2-point conversion, even though it's earlier in the game. 3:07 in three-quarter time. And that makes it a 3-point Ottawa lead now.
And Justin Hardy, the man of the moment for the Ottawa RedBlacks. Dustin Crum. Big completion. Hardy lining up in the slot. Going to break this one out. Sells it to the inside. Gets Moxie to bite. Separation on that out cut. Throw from Crum is on time. Good protection. Nice execution for the RedBlacks on that entire drive.
And then the 2-point convert try.
Yeah. Here sees a little bit of room to run.
Flushed out, takes it in. You know, the RedBlacks have scored 3 touchdowns in this game, all of them off turnovers. The pick 6, the fumble in the first half, they drove down the lead trade touchdown. And this, remember, that the Stamps, instead of trying a field goal, went for it on 3rd down and didn't get it. And this is the drive that culminated with another touchdown. Here's Clark Barnes, not just a great-looking receiver, this rookie with Calgary, but a good kick returner as well. So Dustin Crum, not a one-trick pony.
Absolutely not. Good look, and doesn't hurt to get a little bit of help from the defense as he has over the last couple of weeks.
That was a 6-play, 72-yard drive in 3 minutes, 44 seconds as we get late here in the 3rd quarter, and back and forth they go. Mayer, good numbers. You take away those 2 turnovers, the pick 6 and that fumble, and he has steadily gotten better. Completing a lot of big passes now, but the Stampeders are down again, down by 3, and going to the ground. See if they can get more, and they do. Up across the 40 that time for Dedrick Mills, taken down by Michael Wakefield.
Oh, Wakefield has been such a big addition or re-addition in his case to the Ottawa defense. A guy who started his career in the nation's capital, moved in free agency a couple of years ago to Montreal. But when his contract was up again, decided to make the move back to the city that he really considers home.
Now, Mills averages 5.3 a carry. That was 4 yards, but the RedBlacks usually give up less than that, under 4. Best team against the rush in the CFL. Blitz coming. Mayer just gets it away. And not enough time as he's looking for Cole Tucker, and Adam O'Clair was there, but a blitz coming in very quickly, and it's now a first 2 and out for the Stampeders down at a 3rd and 6. They'll have to punt it away.
Yeah, they'll bring this one from depth from the secondary. Abdul Kenna right up the gut. You get a DB coming from in that close. They don't take care of the inside gaps because he was a little late, but with his speed able to make up for that and get in quickly on the quarterback.
Blitzing Abdul Kenna right in on Mayer. Forced to get it away quickly, so they punt, and Brandon Dandridge takes it and just heads out of bounds. Dandridge had the pick last week that really sparked the comeback by Ottawa, and Bob Dice. What a moment moment for him and for the Red Blacks too. But we think back to 1983, the unlikely win by the NC State Wolfpack, coached by the legendary Jim Valvano. Look at him celebrate, Dwayne. We only bring it up because of this. Crum goes into the end zone in overtime. Look at their head coach.
Bob Dice couldn't contain the emotion.
Like Jimmy V there. It looked like he was looking for someone to celebrate with too, but there was just sheer joy. It was in that city too, with that unlikely comeback against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, who seem to have the game in hand late at TD Place. A tremendous work by Crum, by Dandridge to get it started, by all the Red Blacks too, their defense in that game. And boy, they really needed that win.
Yeah, they did, and big lift for the team. You mentioned Jim Valvano and NC State. Good opportunity to wish happy birthday, happy 31st to the NC State product, Mike Rose, Calgary defensive tackle.
So 31, that would be 1992, 9 years after that miracle victory by NC State. Happy birthday, Mike Rose, in the Ottawa 35, and they have been able, you know, Crum's had some success, but they've been able to get a lot of pressure on him as Rose comes in. Is that a birthday sack?
Yeah, say his name and as if on cue.
There we go. So Vaughter in on the act as well there, as the Stampeders brought some heat.
Yeah, never mind the loot bags. I want a sack. Mike Rose just beats Jacob Ruby inside, slicing through to the quarterback.
So Calgary's defense stands up there, and the Force Leone, his last one blocked. In the previous two, Lewis had excellent returns. And so Tommy Lee Lewis, after a 58-yarder, here we go again. Cuts it back, flag is out, but another good return. And what would be the final play of the third quarter. And this call will be going against the Stampeders, negating that Lewis return. And that is three-quarter time. As back and forth they continue to go. The block punt. Stevens picking up a touchdown earlier to take the lead, but back came the Red Blacks. And they're up by 3, heading into the final 15. The lead changes hands again in the third quarter a couple of times. Ottawa back in front, 28-25, and the net yards so close, but once again, they're getting their points in different ways.
Yeah, they are. It's been a fun game to watch in terms of the adjustments that both teams have made, and offensively in response to what the defenses have done, and most notably that last drive for Ottawa, where they kind of find a way to get the ball out of Crum's hands and avoid that Calgary pass rush that had become such an issue.
And one pivotal point. Nice jacket, by the way. I meant to compliment you on that.
Thank you, likewise.
But Calgary's decision not to try the field goal, but to see if they could catch the Red Blacks special teams, and instead failed to cash in on the first down. And Ottawa, on another turnover, took it the length of the field and scored the touchdown that's put them ahead. So that was a key moment so far in this game, one of many that we have seen so far in this game that has Ottawa heading to the final 15. Trailing, or leading, excuse me, by a field goal, 28-25 from the Calgary 15. Stampeders start deep, and they plow ahead with the run despite the success of the Red Blacks' rush defense, and another 4-yard gain there for Dedrick Mills.
And Jake Mayer in this ball game, we've mentioned throughout, a lot of success throwing the deep ball. Be interesting to see if he takes a shot here to kind of get them out from this difficult starting position on the drive.
So a little bit longer, excuse me, a 7-yard gain. And that's the most success the Stampeders have had on a running play here against the Red Blacks today. 2nd and 3, but to throw is Mayer, and completing it. And that is Bagleton right around the first down mark. Gets it right to the 25.
Damon Webb hoping he had stopped him short.
Well, you know what? They spotted about the length of the football in further back, so this will be short.
Yeah, Begelton coming right to left on your screen on the crosser. Webb trailing.
And that is a good spot. You see where the ball went down, shy of that 25. So Tommy Stevens back in again in short yardage, has a touchdown in this game. Pushes straight ahead. He didn't need much. He didn't get much either. He ran into a red-black wall there right at about the 25. He might just have enough by the looks of things, because as said, he only needed inches. Again, see where they spot the football.
Yeah, there's a quick signal of first down. The sticks have moved.
Yeah, he just had to go. Yeah, he got it to a couple of feet there and before he just ran into a wall, but that is enough. It is a first down right at about the 25-yard line they give it, so just barely, but this one continues. Fourth quarter. Two teams, as mentioned at the start, coming off dramatic victories. Walk-off wins last week. Here's Trey Odoms-Dukes. Got some room after the catch, and he makes more for himself. First down and more. Up near midfield for Trey Odoms-Dukes.
Ottawa loaded up a little bit and brought the blitz. That left quite a vacancy in the second level of their defense. So when Mayer was able to get that ball out to Odoms-Dukes, he had a little bit of room to roll. You'll see from behind that left goalpost, free safety Alonzo Adai is coming, but look at all the room in that second level. Once Odoms-Dukes makes the grab, pick up a 23 yards on the play for the big slot back.
Made a nice move there on Douglas Coleman. Cut it back inside and get more. So a gain of 23 to the Calgary 48 now. Faking the handoff, down he goes. Second sack of the afternoon for the RedBlacks. It's Bryce Carter, the defensive end, coming in and taking Mayer down for a huge loss.
Yeah, Bryce Carter, man starting opposite Lorenzo Malden at defensive end this season. You see unblocked man kind of slow plays it, then closes quickly on the Calgary quarterback.
A loss of 8. So back at their 40, and the Stampeders are 8 for 14 in second down conversions. A big one coming up now. It's 2nd and 18. Mayer to his left. It's complete. It is up to the 50. And still well shy of a first down for Calgary. It's Trey Odoms-Dukes again.
Odoms-Dukes and Coleman having an ongoing discussion about the previous play as they walked away from this one. But yeah, no room after making the grab here to turn that upfield as he did on the previous catch.
Cody Grace, great punter, has seen his net punting average drop after 2 were returned by Mario Alford last week in Regina for touchdowns. Brandon Dandridge also has a punt return touchdown against Calgary back in week 2, but no such thing happening here as he lets it roll into the end zone.
For what could be a valuable single.
A single point for Calgary to make it a 2-point ball game fourth quarter. It is close on a Sunday at McMahon. Week 8 in the CFL coming up, starting with Friday Night Football with the Ticats and the RedBlacks. And then Saturday, we are to be in Halifax for Touchdown Atlantic, and always excited every year about that. But the circumstance is so difficult this year. Thoughts with everyone in Halifax suffering just the ravages of terrible flooding there, including a couple of Nova Scotia natives there, one for each team.
Yeah, a couple pretty good defensive ends from that part of the country. The best wishes from all of us to all of you in Nova Scotia during the flooding.
And a flag is out in this run by Devontae Williams. Isaac Adeyemi Berglund from Dartmouth, and Aiden John, the RedBlack rookie in Nova Scotia.
Holding.
Native as well.
Ottawa number 52. 10-yard penalty. Will repeat, first down.
And the right tackle, Zach Pelias, is called for the hold, negating that run by Williams. Now just a 2-point game after a punt single by Cody Grace.
Keep a look here. Pelias, the right tackle, the man charged with the hold. His Vaughters just beat him to the inside. low off the mark on that one.
1st and 20 with the holding penalty. Approaching 10 minutes left. Complete there to Hardy, getting some of that yardage back over 10, 12 yards for Hardy, and a 2nd and long still coming up here for the RedBlacks.
Well, Dustin Crum feels almost like he has seen it all through his first couple of starts in the Canadian Football League, gathering experience quickly.
They're 8 for 16 in 2nd down conversions, as you can see, and Crum 13 of 16 for 153 and a touchdown pass. More success through the air. 3-man rush. They're keeping an eye on him too as he tries to get away and limit some of the damage. He needed to get to the 50. He doesn't make it, and the RedBlacks are going to have to punt.
And you see Crum take a heavy pop on that one. This is something we've talked about a little bit, given Ottawa's situation, a team that has battled injuries at quarterback really over the course of the last couple of years, but obviously quite extensively early this year. Is Dustin Crum's running is such a threat that you don't want to eliminate that as part of your offense. You don't want to take that away, but certainly he's going to give you moments as a coach where you're holding your breath or cringing a little bit when he takes off, hoping you don't see plays like that. And I suspect Bob Dice is going to challenge on the high hit, but he's not a passer.
Especially a team, as you talked
Ottawa's
about.
challenging. There was roughing the quarterback on the play. We'll review the play.
To your point about holding your breath, all the issues they've had with the health of their quarterbacks this season and last. So they will review and see if this is roughing the passer. A rough play here on Dustin Crum as he was taking off. We'll be back. Critical moment on 3rd down, waiting the decision of Tom Valesi on whether this was a necessary roughness in what looks like a high hit from Micah Awe on the helmet of Dustin Crum. Have a look, see what you think.
Yeah, and Awe comes off his block, turns back. You know, even slowed down a little bit. It's tough to say if he didn't make contact first, kind of on the front of his shoulder pads, and then glance upwards, which led to the helmet popping off.
Definitely was a collision or partial collision there of the helmets coming in. The first thing you could see on that angle for Awe. So they've taken, the command center's given this a long look, and just awaiting word from Tom Valesi now. Decisions made, and the call is?
After review, the ruling on the field stands. It'll be 3rd down.
So no penalty, and Ottawa will indeed have to punt on this 3rd down. And remember, if you look back at the last 4 punts by Leone, the last one, a good return, was negated by penalty, and the one before that was blocked, and they nearly got to him there. And that time, a beautiful punt by Leone, and Lewis had no choice, no chance at all coming in and heading out of bounds. Now the Coors Light moment of chill, and one of many big moments. This one for rookie Clark Barnes' 54-yard touchdown catch. He has had quite a day, the rookie receiver for the Stampeders.
Yeah, he's been busy. No moments for him bigger than this one, though. First career Canadian Football League touchdown, and
that's the moment of chill.
There's the chill part right there. Clark Barnes cooling off. Great start to his CFL career, certainly a bright future.
And he is out, wide to the right, with 3 other receivers. That way, and Mayer looks that way. Wide open, caught. Martin Michel could be gone. 95-yard touchdown strike. Mayer and the Stampeders. Another big play through the air as Calgary retakes the lead.
It's not a long pass, but The thing that stands out to me about this one from Jake Maier is the beautiful touch that he puts on this football. Not feeling a need to drill it in there, but laying it out, knowing where Mark-and Michel has to get to. Just watch the perfect little arc he puts on this football. Takes a little bit off and lets Michel run under it. Turning that into the biggest play of the game. Maier to Michel for their second TD connection of the game.
Coming into this game since his return, Michel had 5 catches, no touchdowns. He has 4 in this game for 2 touchdowns. And Jake Maier now has 387 yards passing, and that is a career high for him. His 2 best performances in terms of passing yards have both come this season against the Ottawa RedBlacks, as they in turn will go for 2, trying to turn 4 into 6, and Maier facing heat. Oh, he had Barnes, just not close enough, low and away. Falls incomplete. It remains a 4-point edge now for Calgary back in front. Back and forth they go. Mark and Michel won a Grey Cup with the Stampeders in 2018 and then left for... I'm back. There you go. That's his message, and you know, that's a statement he's made on the field.
We believed him after the first one. This time he has to pick his way through a little bit of traffic. His quarterback has to be patient. Fights to the inside, then turns it up. Catching a couple of defenders flat-footed on that inside move when he turns it north-south. He and his QB certainly on the same page as to where he was going as Maier lays it up. Michel runs under it and just keeps running. It's one that if Maier doesn't put that touch, that arc on the ball and tries to zip it in there, it's a tight window just because of the angle of Sadler, the trailing middle linebacker. But because he lays it up, he's got an easy throw to what is essentially a wide open receiver.
Great play, big play for Michel, but not his best play in this game. Heard Milt Stegall at halftime raving, as we all were, but that beautiful catch when he was turned around at the other end zone.
Front corner of the end zone.
He is having a game on his 4 catches. Reliving that one, and his message was, you heard him, I'm back. And Calgary's back in front in the 5th lead change of this game as DeMontre Tuggle brings this one out. So the RedBlacks have been down before, and thanks to that play to Michel, they're down again as Crum comes on. A 4-point Calgary lead halfway through this 4th quarter.
And 2 teams coming off tight finishes a week ago. Look like they're well set up to do it again here this week.
Over to you, Ottawa. 32-28. 7:45 in the clock. 1st and 10 from their 26. And they went left, handing it off early to Hardy. And on the sweep, picks up a big 1st down on the ground for the RedBlacks.
A nice play call there. Where a lot of the time early on in this ball game, you're going to see Hardy coming across in front of the quarterback to take the flip. Little shovel pass here. Call it a pass, but an extension of the run game. A lot of times it's been Crum through the first part of this ball game being the guy to attack the perimeter in the run game. Here they mix it up. Nice call.
Technically, yes. Passing play. Another completion for Crum there, the shortest variety. From the 42. There's a deep ball. The deepest for Crum. Oh, so close for C.O.C. Mariner. Down inside the 20. Have not seen Ottawa try what Calgary's been so successful at with deep balls. That one was very close.
Yeah, well thrown ball. Great effort here by Mariner as he lays out and gets his hands under it. But unable to hold on.
Got in behind Natrell Jamerson. That close to what would have been the biggest offensive play for the RedBlacks in this game, yes. Haven't seen Crum try those deeper passes. 2nd and 10. Gets it to Bahar. Trying to fight for a 1st down. He will be shy by 2 yards. Got as far as the Ottawa 50. So a 3rd and 2 by the looks of things.
who's been a go-to guy. Referred to him as the security blanket for Dustin Crum these last couple of weeks, but unable to pick up the first down there.
They need a full 2 yards. The offense stays on the field. They're going for it. What a moment this is. 6:12 on the clock. Red Blacks down 4.
Timeout, Calgary.
Yeah, Stampeders really just looking to make sure they have the desired personnel on the field. Looks like they might have been one short, actually.
Mike Awe, Michael Griffin getting the start for the injured Brandon Dozier at safety, coming in to make sure that Bahar doesn't get those valuable 2 yards on a first down.
Mike Awe making sure to take the Ottawa receiver to the ground. Awe very productive in his first third of a season here, taking over as the Calgary Stampeders middle linebacker, well-traveled veteran with a reputation as a big hitter. Was intrigued by the opportunity to move to Calgary in free agency. He says it's a defense where you watch, they run and hit. Two of his most very favorite things.
Crum still giving out instructions here. The crowd picks up at McMahon from the 50. They need 2. Milanovic, Litre. Well, we'll see where the spot is. The Stampeders don't think he got quite far enough. Litre thinks he has. They need 2. He had to get to the 52 of Ottawa. There's the 1, and pushing. Does he get far enough to get that second yard?
Yeah, my initial feeling from our vantage point is that Calgary got the stop here.
Well, by the way they put it down, it looks like the nose of the ball would be right close to the 52 as the sticks come out, the chains. This is going to be very close. Oh my goodness, not enough. And the Stampeders benefit from the turnover. They take over in Ottawa territory too. Trying to protect a 4-point lead. The X-Stamp. Litre. He got that close within inches, but no. Ottawa turns it over on downs. So an interesting decision. We saw Calgary try it and it backfired on a 3rd down, and then Ottawa on 3rd and 2. Dwayne went for it and it did not work.
Yeah, and you usually think, again, young quarterback, that you're going to be somewhat conservative, but Ottawa making an aggressive gamble here. They don't really get blockers up to second level. Micah Awe, the middle linebacker, able to flow freely to the ball and get in on the play. The big stuff on Milanovic Litre.
At the Ottawa 52, Jake Mayer and the Stampeders with a 4-point lead take over. 4-man rush with time. Deep ball to the right, but it's a bit shorter. It bounces off Barnes. It's intercepted. So the Red Blacks get it right back with the safety Alonzo Adai. The coverage was there on Barnes. Maybe a little bit short by Mayer that time, and got the deflection and into the hands of number 20 for the Red Blacks.
Yeah, and as we look back at this one, I want to see if Mayer was affected on his release at all, as this one seemed to come out a little bit awkwardly. He maybe had to short arm it a bit with defenders closing in on him. Barnes on the outside, the intended receiver. Throw comes up short, leading to the deflection. Alonzo Adai with the big INT.
So the Stamps do not take advantage of that turnover on downs. They turn it over right back, and it's first down and another first down picked up there for the Red Blacks with Justin Hardy, and quickly getting it up to around the 35 Ottawa.
And now it'll be up to the Stamps to kind of get their footing, recover after that turnover. Quick change in momentum. See the man of the moment, Alonzo Adai, sporting the hair I've always wanted.
That you used to have, correct? First down after that gain of 12 to the ground, left side. Devontae Williams It's like but 5 more. Alonzo Adai in his second year. And the Canadian coming up with a big pick here and a little tip drill off the Jake Mayer pass.
Yeah, Adai. Guy I know Ottawa is very excited about getting an opportunity here in his second year to start at free safety with Justin Howell out of the lineup. Turned in a big play there.
Williams got it a little further. 8 yards there, and a 2nd and 2 coming up from the Ottawa 43. They've moved to 20 yards since taking over the turnover, and back to Litre. Andy Milanovic-Litre drives over for the first down and more as they're quickly getting it back closer to midfield. The turnover is a big part of this game both ways, but especially against Calgary. Ottawa has really been able to make the Stampeders pay for turning over the football. 3 touchdowns out of it.
And they've sort of made up for the lost yardage on their previous gamble here as they're back out close to midfield.
Started at the 23, up to their 49. Pump fake. Crum gets it off to the right, and it just sails out. Throws it away. 2nd down coming up.
And good decision there. I know there was a thought for Crum to run once he escaped the initial pressure, got to the outside, but I think at this stage recognizing that there probably wasn't much to be had. Save going head-to-head with some bigger bodies. Live to fight another down.
Just another big 2nd down coming up for Ottawa. Crum does have 7 carries, by the way, for 62 yards, and the longest at 27. Written down the 3-minute mark. Ottawa trailing by 4 on the 2nd down. He has time. And Cameron Judge couldn't quite get him, but he doesn't get the first down, and the flag is down. After a gain of 8, but a flag on the field. So Calgary once again not rushing many on 2nd and long, with Judge keeping an eye on the Red-Black quarterback.
Yeah, and this has been pretty standard as you're going to get.
That penalty's declined. Illegal contact. Calgary number 16. 10-yard penalty and a first down.
Just 3 men rushing and Cameron Judge hanging in behind, and all he's doing, spying and mirroring the quarterback.
And Crum was able to get away from him. 8 yards there, but doesn't matter. Benefits Ottawa with the penalties, 2 against the Stampeders. Moxie for holding and another one for illegal contact. So this drive does continue down to the Calgary 51 now. A first down and 10. What a finish is looming here at McMahon Stadium. A great game, back and forth they've gone with 5 lead changes. 3-minute warning coming up. That pass is complete. That's down to the Calgary 45 with 2:55 in the clock. Jalen Acklin after a 6-yard gain. Well, these two were used to some drama from last week. More drama in store by the looks of things. Fans here in Calgary getting treated to a very close, entertaining game. Lots of big plays. Ottawa ball down by 4 under 3 minutes to go. 2:45 in the clock. Dustin Crum, blitz is coming, gets it away, completes it to Acklin. And that is good for another Ottawa first down. So here we go again, 2:38 on the clock. 10 more yards passing for Crum.
Just a quick slant to the inside. From Jalen Acklin out of the slot, gets underneath his defender, inside position. Ball's out of Crum's hands quickly as they want.
As Dustin Crum goes over 200 yards passing, and this is second CFL start. To the ground, and Williams spins, keeps his feet for a moment, and gets a few extra yards with Micah Awe there to make sure he's down, but that's a 7-yard carry on first down, 2nd and short coming up.
Yeah, Devontae talked about putting on a few extra pounds this offseason to aid him in the run game. They seem to serve him well. Fighting through initial contact on this one. Great spin move here.
And he had to add carbs to his diet, which he didn't want to do. He says he doesn't like carbs.
Yes.
I'm still trying to figure that one out. 2nd and 3. Throwing, but it gets knocked. The line, and looks like Ackland, too, going down incomplete and looked for a moment like he was favoring his left leg. So a 3rd and 3 is coming up. And Dwayne, you talked about it. That punt single by Grace made it a 4-point game. And a 3rd down coming up here for Ottawa, and it's getting late.
Yeah, watch Cameron Judge coming off the top, left side of your screen. The blitz that time gets a hand on that one. Now, at the time of that single point, it cut the Ottawa lead from 3 to 2, meaning a field goal could beat them. These teams have gone back and forth a little bit since, but it still looms large as it means Ottawa can't tie it with a field goal.
So they have to go. 2 minutes on the clock. 3rd down, it's complete, and Hardy is hit right away. And this is close as well, but it does look like where they put it down, he does indeed have enough for the 1st down. Barely, a gain of 4. Just inside that 20-yard line.
And the RedBlacks stay alive, just barely. Right at the line, that lunge by Hardy is probably it.
What a finish. 1:49 on the clock, 1st down. Crum wants to take off, but they have him. It's Cameron Judge, who has just mirrored him. Paid such close attention to him, limits any damage that Crum can do there.
Yeah, Judge has played that spy role so effectively. There's a Stampeder linebacker. He's keeping an eye on the quarterback. Slow play and creep towards the line. As soon as he approaches that line, you see his mirror image. Cameron Judge approaching the line as well to stop the run.
2nd and long. 4-point game. 1.5 minutes to go. Ottawa needs a touchdown. 2nd and 9. 4-man rush with time. Deep ball to the end zone. Jump ball! Touchdown, RedBlacks! Nate Bahar. 23 yards. Bahar, as we've talked about, has made some big catches lately. None bigger than that. The 6th lead changes. Ottawa goes ahead again.
Yeah, you look at the Ottawa receiving corps, and Nate Bahar has been so reliable for them over the last couple of years, but not necessarily the guy you think of as the jump ball guy. But in this instance, Dustin Crum goes to him. Quarterback takes a hit as he puts it up. And Nate Bahar doing as he has done so frequently over the last couple of weeks, just answering the bell, answering the call of duty for his team.
First touchdown of the season, Bahar. Huge after an 11-play, 87-yard drive, and that important point after by Ward to make it a field goal lead again for the RedBlacks with 1:20 on the clock.
Well, and this isn't one that starts off as like a jump ball fade type route. You're going to see Bahar on the outside here. Has a little out and up move on this one. But if you sort of keep an eye to the backfield, though, and Crum takes a hit to the legs, he can't step into the throw. That's where it comes up short. As Bahar was in behind the defender, throw comes up short, turns into a jump ball, and Bahar wins it anyway.
Just as Mike Rose was taking him down, as he watches, lying down to see that caught by Nate Bahar. Natrell Jamerson on the coverage, that close, as Bahar, the veteran out of Carleton University, brings it down. Well, these teams haven't lightened up on the drama, have they? After what happened to both of them last week, winning in a walk-off. It's just a field goal separating them. Back and forth they've gone. And now it's over to Calgary, needing a field goal at least. Clark Barnes, what a game he's had. And the return game here, and they do wrap him up. Kenny Onyeka in on that tackle to take him down, as Mayer with that big touchdown toss before, and the last time will come back on. But here's another look at the Ottawa touchdown to give them the lead.
Great concentration there from Nate Bahar, as that one goes just beyond the fingertips of Natrell Jamerson.
For obvious reasons, A very different reaction from Bob Dice.
Yeah, well, different numbers on the clock.
Exactly.
And he knows what Jake Mayer did with less time than this last week.
Exactly. You'd call that one muted, understandably. We got 1:13 still to go. And the way this has gone, not over yet. Oh, it's complete up there. That's Reggie Begelton. And just a quick strike. And Calgary can strike so fast they have in this game with big plays. That one, an 18-yard pickup over their 50.
Yeah, and as a football fan, you've got to just love the way this has gone back and forth between two young quarterbacks. Jake Mayer here. You know, he's 73 seconds. You got to move us down the field. Jake Mayer just goes, been there, done that.
He's gone over 400 yards passing for the first time in his career. And they can't get to him there. He escapes to the right. Leon Lang trying to close in on him. Lang chasing him, and eventually Mayer does go out of bounds up across midfield. You look at what Jake Mayer's done in his career. Remember, he had first 3 games filling in for Bo Levi Mitchell in 2021, all 300 yards passing or more. First ever to do that, but this one clearly, hey, those 2 games against Ottawa this year, his best.
Yeah, rubber match, so to speak, here amongst his 300-yard games. 3-3 in terms of wins and losses thus far. We'll see how this one turns out.
Across midfield in a 2nd and 3. 52 seconds on the clock. Trying to get a little closer at least. Trey Odoms Dukes, excuse me, that is Cole Tucker. And taken down by Douglas Coleman. His 2nd catch of the day, and that is good for a first down. 46 seconds.
Well, one of the things that Jake Mayer talked to us about this week was the confidence that the team gained from their comeback win last week. And so here they get into this situation. There's absolutely no doubt in their minds about their ability to move the ball into scoring.
The Ottawa 46. They get that much closer. Inside the 40. Caught by Begelton. Eau Claire taking him down, but definitely in the range of Rene Paredes now. 9 more yards, 32 seconds.
And we'll see Begelton going to work here. Looked like Mayer may have taken a high hit as Abdul Kenna came free on the blitz that time, but no flag on the play.
Dave Dickinson's furious about the spot of the football as they put it back to the Ottawa 41. And now moving it again inside the 40 by the looks of things. And now at the 39.
You saw the hit by Kenna on Mayer.
So whistle it in on a 2nd and 3 at the Ottawa 39. Pressure coming, gets it away, incomplete. 25 seconds to go, intended for Begelton again. And Frankie Griffin, the weak side linebacker, is hurt. Laying down, and it looked like his hands were favoring his lower back. As he gets attention now up near midfield, coming in to put the pressure on Mayer.
Here you'll see Griffin, the weak side linebacker. Comes the 4th rusher, free man on this one. But he just got jammed up on the contact with the quarterback there.
Rene Paredes. A field goal not only would tie the game and likely force overtime, 25 seconds left, but he would become the 10th in the history of the CFL to score at least 2,000 points. And we thought he'd have his chance earlier. And this was the one that got him to 9 points away, the 3 points he had at the end of the game at Mosaic last week. They had to move quickly after this dramatic miracle Saskatchewan touchdown by Tevin Jones put the Riders in the lead. So they had 37 seconds to go, 40 yards. Luther Hakunavanu with a big catch there, and Paredes 50 yards away for the walk-off victory for Calgary. As mentioned, the 10th time in Paredes' great career that he has had a walk-off field goal for the win. This one he is setting up for now, 25 seconds to go. His career longest is 53. Has said he won it for Calgary with a 50-yarder last week. This one to be put down by Cody Grace, about 47 yards away. For the 2,000-point club, more importantly for Calgary, for a tie. It is up. It is through. We got a tie game. 21 seconds left, and Rene Paredes is now the 10th in the history of the CFL to score at least 2,000 points.
Yeah, and given last week, did you expect any different?
Team drama, both of them. Perhaps it's only fitting. The kind of weeks they each had. And this guy is just so used to the pressure. Money in the bank.
Rene Paredes, undrafted back in 2011. And all he's done since then is make kicks. A lot of people forget Winnipeg had him in camp and let him go before Calgary picked him up. And started what has just been a great run. One of the great clutch kickers in Canadian Football League history.
Great moment with the Australian Cody Grayson, a man who was born in Caracas, Venezuela, but raised in Montreal, went to Concordia, and one of the great kickers in the history of the Canadian Football League. What a moment. And more to come. So, yeah, the 2000 club marking there on that memorable football for Paredes, but we still got some big moments coming up here. Not over yet. So 21 seconds on the clock. And a good chance this one could head to overtime. Brandon Dandridge, DeMontre Tuggle are the ones back for it as the ball blows off the tee. Last week, a walk-off field goal by Paredes that you saw. Ottawa, thanks to Dandridge especially, with the pick six off Zach Caleros, getting them within 8. And then they went on the legs of Dustin Crum, and they won that in overtime. Could it be back-to-back games in overtime for the RedBlacks? A deep kick as Dandridge kicks it out. Takes it out, and it's down around the 25. So 13 seconds, Dustin Crum and the Ottawa RedBlacks, and fairly deep in their own zone.
I suspect that the Ottawa coaching staff were holding their breath a little bit as that kick looked like it may have had the returners fooled for a moment there. But they were able to secure it, get it out. And Ottawa's just going to play for overtime here.
Taking a knee, playing for OT for the second straight week, the Ottawa RedBlacks.
Well, very fitting from two teams that,
isn't it,
have had the only 2 ties in the Canadian Football League in recent years, like games that actually finished as ties after overtime.
And I remember one in particular. They met to start the season in 2017 after they'd met in the Grey Cup, and that one went to overtime and ended up being in a tie at TD Place. But yeah, they have a couple of them, and let us refresh your memory on the overtime rules. You can have as many as 2 mini games. Teams play a maximum of that. Each team to scrimmage from the opponent's 35. After a touchdown, a team must go for 2, and the team that scores the most points in the mini games earns 2 points in the standings. And it doesn't always go to the second one either. Last week, Winnipeg went first, got a field goal, and that's when Crum had the 29-yard run for the touchdown that clinched it in the first mini game in that Ottawa comeback victory. Ready for the coin toss.
Okay, CFL logo is heads. The team logo is tails. Ottawa, it's your choice. Tails. Tails. Calls tails. It is a team logo. It is tails. Offense, defense. Defense. Which end do you want to play in? Okay. So we're going to go down here. Calgary ball first.
Ottawa once again wanted to go on defense first and see what they need.
And you got to love it. Even right down to the 2 most accurate field goal kickers in Canadian Football League history out there smiling at each other for the coin toss.
Much respect between those two, I'm sure. And Kickers always looming large, but certainly here in overtime, right?
Ward also undrafted, by the way.
Lewis Ward. Played at the University of Ottawa. From Kingston, Ontario. And yes, by percentage, the most accurate in the history of the game, with Paredes a very close number 2. But Paredes further along in his career and over 2,000 points now. And I'm sure the only reason why he doesn't want a chance to add to that lead today is if Calgary's scoring touchdowns. So here we go with Jake Mayer. First down, they bring the heat right away and take him down for a loss of 5. A sack for the RedBlacks, who had a big moment against Caleres and Winnipeg last week before their field goal.
Wakefield upfield in a hurry. Great burst there from the Ottawa defensive tackle.
So Paredes, if they don't get any yardage on this second down play, would be staring down another 47-yarder. See what they choose to do on a 2nd and 15, or how far down the field they can get to keep this thing going. On this first Calgary possession. There it is, deep over the middle. It is caught too. RedBlacks upset there with Begelton as he comes down, and he needed 15. He got 16 and a first down for Calgary.
Yeah, and you watch Begelton work across the middle. On this one, a little bit of space, just has a half step on Damon Webb. Jake Mayer threads the needle. Huge play for the Stampeders, knowing what a drive killer sacks can typically be. 2nd and 15.
To get them inside the 25. 16 yards they picked up. So here we go. First down. Mayer quickly for Barnes. It got deflected, but he caught it. And he does pick up about 7 or 8 yards. Clark Barnes to set up a 2nd and short coming up here for Calgary. That could have been worse for the Stamps.
Yeah, good save there from Barnes. Comes up hobbling a little bit, but on something that is such a timing sort of play. But the way he delayed himself, contorted his body a little bit to reach back and catch that one when he was on the move. Very subtle, but nice play from Clark Barnes.
Call it a gain of 5. 2nd and 5 coming up. The Ottawa 19. This is the first overtime minigame. First possession for Calgary. Got movement at the line. Lorenzo Malkin coming in. They play on. And Adam O'Clair coming in on the coverage there on Diedrich Mills. It falls incomplete, but a flag is out. On a 2nd and 5. If it's against Ottawa, it'd be enough for a first down by the looks of things, although it's more than one flag down on the field. And another discussion in this OT.
Some discussion of who moved first here as we get
the call. We have 2 fouls on the play. We have offside Calgary, offside Ottawa. We're going to replay the play. 2nd down.
So we're back to 2nd and 5, right inside the 20, the 19. What a way to wrap up week 7 with the 2 teams that had the most drama in their victories in week 6. Welcome viewers from TSN4 watching the Mets Red Sox. We've got a great finish here. 2nd straight week the RedBlacks are in overtime. 35-35. First possession of this overtime for Calgary from the Ottawa 19. Mayer on 2nd and 5 complete. Coming back is Lewis. He came back for the ball. Where will they spot it for him? And a flag comes out as well. And the spot will be shy of a first down as he did come back for that football.
Yeah, Lewis, inside receiver on this play. We haven't seen him take a ton of snaps on offense. Been very impactful on special teams in this ball game. The Stamps getting at least 10 points off big returns from Tommy Lee.
You see the tackle by Damon Webb at the end as Tommy Lee Lewis was going down, and that appears to be what the flag is about.
Yeah, tough one there for Webb.
Major foul. face mask. Ottawa number 6. Half the distance to the goal.
That was it.
Automatic, first down.
Webb pleads his case to no avail, half the distance as Calgary gets close. First possession and trying to make it a major. Comes down to the Ottawa 7. Both teams at 2 and 3. Coming into this game. Big first and goal Mayer. Wide open touchdown Calgary. Trey Odoms-Dukes.
Great execution to complete a terrific drive for Calgary. Remember, they have to go for 2 here.
And that catch puts Trey Odoms-Dukes over 100 at 101 yards receiving and 450 passing for Jake Mayer.
And you think early on in this game, we wondered as Calgary came out slinging, basically not a lot of attempts to run the football from the Stampeders, but only 12 total rushing plays called for the Stamps in this ball game.
7th lead change and going for 2 here to make it 8. No, but a flag does come out. Reggie Begelton, the intended receiver.
Flag back near the line of scrimmage.
And it's a hold against Calgary. So a 6-point game.
Calgary is challenging that there is pass interference on the play. We'll review the play.
So Dave Dickinson challenges that. See if they could replay the down and try to again to get the 2 on the board and make it 8. Regardless, Ottawa in their first overtime possession needs a touchdown at the very least.
Keep an eye on the tight end here. The right side of the formation is Begelton. A little bit of a grab early. The trailing defender, and not sure if they're looking at the end as Eau Claire maybe ran up on him a little bit as you see Begelton go down.
You see Begelton wanted the call.
And look.
Here's the call from Tom Valesi.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. There's no pass interference. We did have holding on Calgary, but that'll be declined. Their series is over.
So there you go. It is a touchdown for Calgary, but not converted. So it's a 6-point lead, and the Red Blacks for Bob Dice in their first overtime possession will need to find the end zone. If they do, they'd have a chance to win it on a 2-point convert try.
And this is going back to the touchdown. You see Odoms-Dukes and Michel coming out of a bit of a stack formation, looking to create a little bit of a confusion or communication errors in coverage. Defense slow to switch things off, and they get the touchdown.
So working towards the same end zone, and a 3-man rush for Crump. Dustin Crump completes it. Siose Mariner nearly had a big catch in regulation, but not quite. So that's his first catch of this game in overtime, and that is good for 8 yards. So a 2nd and short coming up for the Red Blacks.
That'll bring some bigger bodies onto the field for Ottawa, looking to ensure they get the first down. And obviously, the situation is they need to get a touchdown to match, a chance to win if they get a touchdown and the 2-point convert. But looking to get the first down here, it is 3-down football regardless for the Red Blacks.
2nd and 2 at the Calgary 27. Pigram in, short yardage. Finding his way through for a first down and working it down to the 20. Tyrell Pigram has certainly found his place in this Red Blacks offense in short yardage. He had 1 for 17 earlier in the game. That's 7 yards when he only needed a couple. 1st and 10.
Yeah, they call it short yardage, but Pigram doesn't treat it as that. As you mentioned, over 20 yards on 2 carries. These situations.
Down to about the 20, the nose of the football there. What drama we have at McMahon. A 6-point Calgary lead. First overtime possession, Ottawa. They need a touchdown. From the 20, Crum got away from the heat for a moment, but not all of it. Cameron Judge, his best friend today, whether he likes it or not, and Derek Wigan helping out as well to take him down.
Yeah, Cameron Judge playing the role of shadow.
They don't want Crum to take off the way he did against Winnipeg in overtime last week. Yeah. 12 for 24, Dwayne, on 2nd down. This is a 2nd and 10.
2 downs to work with, really, as they have to go for it anyway.
There we go. It's complete inside the 10. So a 1st and goal, and Nate Bahar, the ever-reliable Red Blacks receiver, with another reception at a big touchdown earlier.
And you see the way Crum took the snap, set and turn. A lot of 2nd downs. I'm not convinced that he is looking for anyone other than Nate Bahar.
Targeted him 14 times last week in that overtime victory over Winnipeg. 6 catches in this one. And that one in OT to make it 1st and goal at the Calgary 6. They need a touchdown. The handoff. Driving inside the 5. Williams. A gain of 3. And a 2nd down and goal coming up. The Calgary player is down at this critical point for the Red Blacks, who have to think about getting into the end zone first before they can worry about trying a 2-pointer for the win. Calgary's defense hoping it ends here. On a 2nd and goal, the Red Blacks with 2 shots to get it into the end zone. Brent Monson, defensive coordinator. Saw Kahari Jones earlier, the OC for the Red Blacks.
Yeah, what a terrific job Brent Monson has done over the years here in Calgary.
It's James Vaughters, defensive end, slow to get up and heading off to the sideline now, as the Red Blacks make some substitutions.
Looks like he's heading straight for the dressing room.
You can feel the tension in this building. We could feel the same thing at TD Place last week. Ottawa going to overtime against Winnipeg. 2nd and goal to Calgary 3. Handing it off to Litre. Finding the edge. Touchdown, Red Blacks. 2nd touchdown for former Stampeder Milanovic Litre. And it puts Ottawa into a 41-41 tie and a chance to win it on a 2-point convert try coming up.
Milanovic Litre, the deep man in the backfield. The big back showing a little burst to the outside. Outruns the Calgary defense to the corner of the end zone.
They were 2 for 2 last week against Winnipeg, and 2-point convert tries in regulation that got them to overtime. Both went to Nate Bahar. This is for the win. 2-point convert, nearly said touchdown. It amounts to the same, regardless of the points for the Ottawa RedBlacks. They go back to Bahar, and Ottawa has done it again. Back to back in overtime for this great little run for the Ottawa RedBlacks. first win in Calgary since 2019.
Just magnificent execution here. Mixing it up. The plays on the two-point converts last week, and you had a sense he was going to Bahar wherever he was. They couldn't go back to the well again, where it was sort of inside passes, Curl's just sitting down underneath. This time Bahar is in the slot, running an out. Dustin Crum knows just where to find number 80 in a critical situation. The two of them get it done yet again.
Last week against Winnipeg, late after the pick 6 by Dandridge, Crum went to Bahar, scored the touchdown in the last play of regulation. They needed the 2, and he went to Bahar, and there, with a chance in the first overtime to win it, Crum goes to number 80 again.
No shortage of drama for Dustin Crum. 3 games in which he's seen action this year. First one stopped just short of the goal line on a potential game-tying touchdown last week. Sending it to overtime. The touchdown in the last play of regulation, 2-point convert. Here getting it done in overtime again.
And still a little more muted for Bob Dice, even though it is over. It's done, and the Red Blacks win for the second straight time, and doing it just so dramatically. And what a great game for Barnes, the Stampeders. Back and forth they went with all those lead changes, 8 in all, as Ottawa comes back and takes it on a 2-point conversion to finish things off in the first overtime here at McMahon Stadium.
Just a fantastic performance for both these quarterbacks. Jake Maier, monster game, over 400 yards for him, number of big plays. He finishes with 450 through the air. Dustin Crum dueling on the other side, put up some early rushing yards, but overcame it when Cameron Judge and the spy technique shut him down. But they found a way, and much credit to Crum and the Red Blacks as they post their second straight victory.
And they have found a quarterback too in Dustin Crum. Coming off the bench in Hamilton, nearly forced overtime in that one. And they did go to overtime last week, and again in this one, in a wildly entertaining football game here at McMahon Stadium. Catches like that by Mark and Michelle, who would add another. The great effort by Barnes, over 400 yards passing for Maier, but ultimately Nate Bahar. Couple of big catches, including the one that finishes it off. Thanks for watching, and have a great night.
Come on in. Welcome inside Sports Center. Adam Scully alongside DZ. What a finish there in the CFL. We'll get to those highlights momentarily. Busy show for you this evening. An Open Championship recap, the complete baseball story, some theatrics in NASCAR too. But let's start with the CFL.
Yes, of course. Let's go right back to the CFL and that game you just watched there, where it's 2 teams who just cannot resist overtime and entertaining in that overtime. Dustin Crum led the Red Blacks to a stunning comeback win over the Bombers last week. Could he do it again? Well, Brandon Dandridge gets helped out with a pick 6 off Zach Galeros in the first quarter against the Stamps. Dandridge does it again. This one, another pick 6. This one off Jake Maier. Dandridge returns it 33 yards to the house, and it is 10-6 Ottawa. Let's check in on Crum. Ran for over 100 yards against Winnipeg last week, and he's at it again. It's Sunday. Gonna pick up 27 on the ground. In Ottawa, they punched it in on the next play, and they are up 17-6. Meantime, the Stamps coming off a last-second win over the Riders. Maier looks and finds Markin Michel. What a great adjustment there with the ball in the air. It's a 33-yard tutty in Calgary. They're down 2019 at the break. Our favorite time here, halftime. Little dog race. Now, there's a winner announced there in that one, but honestly, anyone wins when you watch that thing. It's an automatic win. Let's move to the third quarter. Crum not just doing it with his legs, but with his arm, too. He finds Justin Hardy for the score. Ottawa up by 3 heading to the fourth quarter. 8 minutes to play. Calgary driving for the lead.
That way, and Maier looks that way.
Mark Michelle with his second touchdown of the night, in Calgary up 32-28.
Takes the lead. It's a touchdown.
Now, could they force overtime? Nate Bahar with a 23-yard touchdown. This one gets spicy. Things get interesting. Now, a field goal would force overtime, and in that OT, Trey Odom's Dukes. He's going to get the touchdown. That's going to give Calgary the lead. And then from there, Ottawa, they answer back. Lee Trey with his second touchdown of the game. And then going back to Bahar with the game winner. What a finish in that one. So this is the RedBlacks' first road win on this season. Also, all three of their wins have come against West opponents. Dustin Crum recorded his first career multi-TD passing game in another thriller there. Now let's go to Kate and the panel.
Alongside David Sanchez, Matt Dunnigan, Milt Stiegel, and I'm going to say it, the Ottawa RedBlacks are the most thrilling team in the CFL this season, hands down, at least a third of the way through this season. And kudos to the Calgary Stampeders, because they have been so entertaining the past 2 weeks as well. But for Ottawa, getting back-to-back OT wins, getting that record back up to 500, and watching what Dustin Crum is now doing as the fourth starting quarterback for this team this season, it has been an absolute pleasure watching the Milts.
Yes, and like you said, give some credit to the Calgary Stampeders. Jake Mayer is finally starting to play like the Jake Mayer we expected, but it's all about Crum and these Ottawa RedBlacks, what they're able to do, what he's been able to do these last 2 games. And
I know this, with Dustin Crum, if I'm the Ottawa RedBlacks right now, and I see what Dustin Crum is doing, it's not the end of the season, but if it was, I would actually feel comfortable going into camp with him be my starter. And this is only a two games sample. Right. This was the last 2 games of the season, though.
I'll take some more of it.
Yeah, and we get 3 more months to watch him, hopefully. But his composure, his athletic ability, how fast he seemed to pick things up. We've talked to the people in the building, and everybody says he's extremely confident. I think we have a potential franchise starting guy here from what I've seen for the first 2 weeks. And I can't say that about any other guys that I've seen thus far that I had not seen before.
I'm not going to go off.
Oh, you don't have to.
No, I don't. I'm just saying, and I'm not, Davis, but I feel your excitement, and I love what I see, because we need more of this. And this is spectacular. A young man that's going out there and playing fast and free. And I often say that when I talk to young quarterbacks. I said, trust your eyes, play fast and free. And this kid does it. He's got a skill set, and his team believes him. What do we always say about quarterbacks? They got to bring hope. And this kid brings hope to this football team, and a lot of talent. And, I mean, I just scratching my head. It's like, come on, Calgary. Nate Bahar, that's a security blanket. You know, touchdown to tie it up, and then his 2nd and 8, he's uncovered, and then it's Lee Trey around the edge. It's like, man, this football team did it when they needed to on the road, 2 in a row. It doesn't get much more exciting than that to wrap up week 7. Remember week 6, Kate? What did we say? We said week 7, you better bring it.
And guess what?
Right.
Oh, they brought it, to say the least. I love, too, how, you know what, how they utilized Nate Bahar, too. Because we haven't really seen a ton of him this season so far, and he was fired up in that third quarter. It ends up. You knew it was going to him.
Is there any young quarterbacks you've seen their first season this year that have been as good as him?
Let me see. Going through the list. Chad Kelly.
Yeah, but at least he had the experience of last year, and he had the experience of the Grey Cup.
He was here last year.
All we know is,
all last year.
All I'm saying is we expect this week in, week out from the Ottawa RedBlacks. Thank you, because that was so entertaining, and you're right, Matt. We said that week 6, well, you had a lot to live up to, and that game certainly did as we sent it back to Sports Center.
All right, well, we got new on SC for you, Britt Dort with Nate Bahar.
All right, Nate, once again, kind of the hero for this team. So what was the message heading into overtime this week?
I mean, we've been here before. Do your job, nothing else, and it plays out.
Well, you were 8 for 81. You had that really clutch touchdown at the end of the game there. How were you able to make sure to make that happen and stay calm in that moment?
The beautiful part about the sort of clutch situations, time running down, you don't have any time to think. It kind of just keeps happening. Play call comes in, game clock starts. You don't have any time to psych yourself out. So it's just you hear it, run to your spot, and go and do it. And luckily enough, we put the reps in. Dustin made a beautiful throw, and the rest is history.
Well, let's talk about Dustin. You guys have had back-to-back overtime wins. He's been at the helm. So what can you say about his performance and helping lead you guys to victories here?
The boy's got stones. He's ready to compete at all times. There's a level of calm in that huddle that we have throughout the game that is it's infectious. No one panics at any point. It's just head down, catch your breath, keep going, and that all starts with 18.
Awesome. Well, congrats on the win.
Thank you so much.
All right, we got new on SC, Britt Dort with Dustin Crum.
All right. Well, you told me the 3 C's, cool, calm, collected. How are you able to apply those here tonight to get another win?
Yeah, I mean, it was just complimentary football around. Offense kind of started slow, and defense was able to get a touchdown for us there to get us going. And then we were able to do some things, special teams. It was just really all 3 phases. And then guys stepping up and making plays when we needed them to.
Well, let's talk about Bahar, because he seems to be your go-to guy. He helped you get the win here tonight. But even in that final drive to send you guys to overtime, what were you thinking passing off to him there?
I mean, in that situation, just trusting Nate. I mean, he's the guy that's always going to run good routes for me, create separation, and knowing in that situation when we absolutely have to have it, he's going to be one of those guys that you can lean on as a quarterback. And having a guy like that makes your life so much easier.
Well, what is it going to do for this team, you guys having these back-to-back close victories going forward?
One of these days we'll have a game that doesn't come down to the last play, hopefully, but it's been a lot of fun. It's been exciting. It's taught us a lot about ourselves, our team, revealed our character a little bit, and like I said, we just got to keep building off it.
Well, congrats on the win.
Thank you very much.